The following is a special Wayne Hills Television sports presentation.
Welcome to Tom Delatorre Field, home of the Hackensack Comets, as we're here for Wayne Hills season opener, where the Wayne Hills Patriots take on the Hackensack Comets. I'm Nick Appaluccio here, alongside Alex Green and Josh Mordkoff. How you guys doing today?
I'm pretty good, Nick.
Feeling good, Nick. Great night for football.
That's good. Yeah, Wayne Hills, definitely. They're going to carry a lot of momentum into this game with last season's ender, with the miracle New Meadowlands Stadium with Troy Zaffino. How do you think that'll help them this season?
I definitely think this momentum is going to carry over. Big win in States. Coming in here, game one against Hackensack. I think we've seen Hills give a beating in the past. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens tonight.
Well, Wayne Hills always has high expectations, especially, again, after winning the state championship last year. I know Troy Zaffino got a ton of publicity for his last play touchdown that won Hills Estates, and it could be sort of a burden on his back, that he has this legacy, and now that he's the running back, that he has to be the star of the team and get the team back to the championship. So that could affect Zaffino negatively, but overall, I think Hills will have a great season again.
Well, you did mention Troy Zaffino, but how do you think this Wayne Hills team is looking this year?
Well, obviously, the team lost all-state running back Brian Dowling to UMass, but they have three running backs, Dom Santoro, Troy Zaffino, and Justin Beveridge, who have to pick up the slack, and I think they can do it. Overall, Kevin Olsen got older, and I think hopefully he'll pick up some of this. Hopefully he'll have to pick up some of the slack also that Dowling left, and it's a tough schedule, but overall I think Hills can manage it. The defense is great, and I think we're looking good this year.
Like you said, Olsen got older. This team has really grown up, and we've seen them really develop, and I think this is going to be a great game tonight.
Well, all the great games have great players, so who's your key players for tonight, Alex?
I mentioned Kevin Olsen earlier about how he's now a junior. It's his second season starting, and I think with Dowling now gone, he needs to be the offensive leader of the team. He has Division I offers already. He's just a junior, and I think he needs to show that he's worthy of those Division I offers, and I think he'll do that this season.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the two big guys on the line, the Avedisian twins. They are the true grit of the Wayne Hills football team. They're in there, they're getting down, they're getting dirty. I want to see some big runs come up the middle, making some big blocks. I think some big plays can come out of them.
Well, I'm going to be looking at the Wayne Valley transfer, Corey Comforth. Transferred in the fourth marking period of last year just to play Wayne Hills football, so we're going to have to see how he performs in this game. Do you have a prediction for tonight's score, Josh?
I'm going to go with 48-24.
I hear Hackensack is on the rise, and I know that we beat them 34-0 last year, so I predict something around there, maybe 38-0 this year.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little closer than expected, but not close, not like that close. So I'm going to go with 31-24 Wayne Hills.
Okay.
So that's it for us. We'll take you down to the field next.
Welcome to On the Line. I'm Alex Green, here with Jason and Justin Avedisian. In past years, we've had quarterbacks and running backs for this segment, but this year we have the true grit of the team. We have the linemen. Jason and Justin, it's great to have you guys.
Hey, thanks. Plank being here. Yeah, it's a pleasure.
All right, so we'll get right into this. You guys play Hackensack tonight. I hear they're on the rise. They've certainly improved from last year. What do you guys think?
Well, definitely they're no slouch. They lost. They did lose their best lineman last year. Went to Marshall. But they still got quarterback's very tough, running back, make you miss very easily. And, they got some big kids, so they're going to cause a scare. Yeah, they're a good team, but we're just going to come out, we're going to play Wayne Hills football, and at the end of the night, we're going to be 1-0.
That's fantastic. You guys have some high expectations, obviously winning the state championship last year. So you guys lost your all-state running back in Brian Dowling, and you guys have a three-headed monster in Justin Beveridge, Troy Zaffino, and Dom Santoro. Yeah. Thank you, guys. You guys know the team better than I do, especially since you're blocking for them. Yeah. So how do you think they can make up the slack, I guess, that's going to be left by the absence of Brian Dowling?
Dowling was a great player. Everybody knows that. But here at Hills, everybody works hard. You work as hard as you can until it's your time to play. And, they've earned their spot. Dom, Bev, Troy, they've all earned their chance to be tailback. And then you're going to everybody, we know what they can do. The public doesn't, but we have confidence in them that they're going to go out there and do a good job.
So rumor has it around New Jersey that this is one of the best offensive lines that Wayne Hills has had, potentially ever, featuring you guys, Corey Comforth, Roberto Alvarez, and Joey Lane. What do you guys think?
Yeah, the potential is definitely really there. We got pretty much everybody on the lines returning as a starter. Garrett, who's playing center, really worked hard this year. He's looking to go both ways for us. But yeah, I think we definitely have a chance to be one of the best lines just because we practice every day. And Claudio Canonico, our offensive line coach, really does a great job at teaching the fundamentals. And I think if we work hard, yeah, we could be one of the better lines in the state.
And Jason, what do you think?
I think it's good to finally have the linemen on the show. I mean, everybody's seen the Mike Quinns, the Brian Dowlings on the show, but everybody knows that the line wins and loses the game, so it's about time you guys got the real players in here for the interviews.
Well, I'm glad we have you guys. Obviously, we had Dowling last year, and he was all-state with 1,800-plus rushing yards and everything, and he was really the star of the team. But you guys really fly under the radar, and you guys were blocking for him without the line's help. I mean, he would have probably rushed for a lot less yards.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely glad we have you guys. So what would you say your expectations for this season are? Another state championship, maybe?
It's got to be the same as every year, 12-0 state championship. One of the best teams in the state, country, tri-state, everywhere. We're just going to go out and play Wayne Hills football.
So I know you guys played Old Japan in the state championship last year, and their quarterback, Devin Fuller's back, and they also have high expectations. They want to avenge that last-minute loss last year. And if everything goes according to plan, it looks like you guys could be playing each other in the state championship. You guys excited for this year?
Yeah, definitely. We knew coming into the year, there's a very good chance we're going to see them again. They return Fuller, their fullback, who very, very good player. And, Old Japan's just another great program. They're always going to be in it, but, hopefully things go to schedule and we'll see them at Giant Stadium again.
And one last thing. So I know you guys said that you hope to go 1-0 after tonight. Do you guys have any score predictions for the game against Hackensack?
I don't know what the score was last year. I think it was 52-0, I think, or 52, 56, something like that. Hopefully we'll be able to top it tonight. We got a couple tricks up our sleeve, and we're gonna try and use them tonight.
Yeah, I say we're gonna play hard-nosed, smart Wayne Hills football and come out with the W.
Well, thank you guys for your time. That's all the time we have for On the Line. But we'll be back next week. We'll be back with Kickoff after this.
3 things. Let's play harder, let's play faster, and let's play smarter. If we do that, we're hard to beat. You will be hard to beat. You do that. Right? Play our game, guys. We are going to be fine. We are going to hit them like they haven't experienced. Right? At number 1, at number 8, at number 11, at number 2, the quarterback. We are going to hit them, right? And we're going to hit them again. We're going to hit them again. Hey, no talking, 0 penalties. Get back in the huddle. Let's play another play. Let's play fast. We get them on the run. Let's get in and out of the huddle. Let's get in and out of the huddle. Right? Let's go!
Welcome back to Tom Delatorre Field here in Hackensack, New Jersey. I just sat in on Coach Olson's speech with my colleagues, and he sounded really pumped up for this game, really inspired. He just said for his team to go out there, hit hard, and play like another season like they've been doing for the past 10 years. So here we are for the opening kickoff. Captains have just met at the middle of the field, and we're going to wait for the start of this game. Alex, what did you notice from Coach Olson's speech?
Well, as Coach Olson gets older, he certainly does not lose his intensity at all. I mean, he still knows how to pump up a team. And frankly, I mean, I was a bit scared. But, I mean, Wayne Hills, they're looking to have another great season. I think they'll replicate, I hope they'll replicate their state championship last season. And I think all the players and all the coaches are ready to get off to a good start.
Our other announcer, Josh, won't be joining us for the first part of the game as he'll have to take camera duties, but that surely won't make the announcing any less. As here, it looks like we're about the start of the game.
Nick, I was interrupted by the loudspeaker, but I'll give it back to you as kickoff is about to start, and I will get into my information later on.
So as we just heard from the loudspeaker, Wayne Hills will be kicking off. The kicks this year will be taken by number 15 on the roster, Eric Martinez. Haven't heard that name. Possibly new to the school. I don't know.
I mean, he's a sophomore. I do not know who he is either, but at 6 foot, 200 pounds, does not seem like a traditional high school kicker to me.
That's a big sophomore. We see gonna have the senior leadership. We have Kyle Hunsinger, a junior, on that. We haven't seen much of the scrimmages, so what we're seeing right now is new to us as it's new to you. So we'll try to give you the best we can. But we don't know many of the juniors that will be starting this year, so we'll just have to take it as it comes.
I tried going to one of the scrimmages against Piscataway in late August because I went to the Wayne Hills football website and it said it was a home game. So I figured, I might as well check it out. I was there for about 45 minutes, and then sure enough, turns out the game moved to Piscataway and no one told me. So I'm new to this game time experience this season as well.
I don't think the trip to Piscataway would have been made if you knew it was in Piscataway.
I'm committed, but I don't know if I'm that committed.
So here we're looking for the start of the game. We've just received the Hackensack roster, so we'll tell you who will be taking the kickoffs for them. We have Michael Perez, number 1, taking the kicks, along with, I believe, number 5 for Hackensack, Marcus Parker, a running back and defensive back. And here we are for the opening of the Wayne Hills season. Eric Martinez again taking the kickoff. And we're off. And we have a touchback to start the game, so things looking good for Eric Martinez as we see his first high school kick.
Watching that was a very unconventional method of his kick, but I gotta say, it went pretty far.
Last year we had the kicker, Michael Drees and Anthony Jordan, so they did pretty solid the whole season, so it's going to be a little hard to replace. And the year before that, they had, I believe, Division I Lehigh is, well,
1AA, I'm not sure. But I know Tim Divers.
Tim Divers. So your Hackensack's taking it out from their own 20. At quarterback for Hackensack today, number 2, Malik Bush. And they'll start off with the run.
And the defensive line just swarmed the running back.
This Wayne Hills defense this year, it's a mix of juniors and seniors except for the line.
Yeah.
The line for Wayne Hills has always been a dominated senior line. As we look like we both have Adesians there. Number 84 for Wayne Hills, Joe Lane, still up there from last year, and I believe Matt Greenfield's the other end, so an all-senior line for Wayne Hills. Hackensack will pass, Malik Bush, and he's sacked.
All right, maybe they won't pass. Maybe they just get sacked.
I believe that was Matt Greenfield on the sack. I don't remember what his credentials were last year, but I know he had a great season, possibly all-county and all-state mention.
I mean, I know he was very big at tight end last year as well as defensive end. And he came up really big, especially late in the season in the playoffs. And he gets off to a good start early in the season here. The first tackle of the game was made by a junior, Ryan Cardux. And we should expect good things from him. I see him in school. He's a big guy, very intimidating, so I'm sure he's that way on the football field as well.
The secondary looks the same as last year. Monahan and Zaffino both back there. And looks like we'll have a 3-and-out from Hackensack to start the game.
3rd and 16, running right into the defensive line. Running right into the 2 big guys in the Avedisons. I don't know how great of an idea that is, and it clearly did not work that time.
No, you're not going to get by them many times. And the secondary is also taking the punts. We have Monahan and Zaffino back to take punts. Last year, it was a mixture between Monahan and Zaffino, and then Dowling was always back there. But he's off at UMass Amherst now. Zaffino fields this one from about the 45. Stopped after about, it looks like a 7 or 10 yard gain.
So Zaffino's first return to this year is not quite as good as his last return in the Chase Championship last year, but then again, very few returns will ever be like that.
For those who missed it, the miracle at Meadowlands Stadium was the game-winning play in last year's state final by Troy Zaffino. It was a pitch from Dowling to him, and Zaffino ran it down to beat Old Tapan in the final seconds of the game. Kevin Olson taking the guns for Wayne Hills this year again. We'll see how he matured over last year. And they'll start it off with a deep pass to Eric Moskal, just overthrown a little bit.
I like it. Sorry, I gotta say I like the play call. Very. I would not expect it on a first down. I was thinking conventional first down run to Zafino, but that was a very, very interesting play call. And I gotta say I like it.
Some sort of double reverse flea flicker, and then just to Moskal, who was doing a fly to the end zone. He had his man beat. He's just a little far out of his reach.
2nd and 10 from the Patriots from the common 42-yard line.
Looks like we have Jason Avedisian going both ways and Justin Avedisian. And runs to Zafino, doesn't get very far. So now we're on 3rd down. We'll finish giving you the rest of the lineup. Garrett Rubin is playing.
I was about to mention him, new starter on varsity, giving the snaps to Kevin Olson as center this year.
Gain of about 5 on the play.
We have Connor Michelle in there, junior. So it looks like this Wayne Hills team for next year, they're going to look pretty good. They have a lot of juniors playing. It's not a predominantly senior. Well, it's predominantly senior, but there's enough juniors in there where they could lead a team next year. The pitch to Zafino. Taken down. So we'll see what Wayne Hills will do here.
Man, there's a
Looks like a flag. 2 flags up. You see that, Alex, what the flag was?
I'm not really sure what that was because that came after the tackle had been made. So it'll be interesting to see what the call is.
Two-yard loss for Zafino there. And number 66, there he is, the Wayne Valley transfer, Corey Comforth. Transferred just to play Wayne Hills football here, so we'll see if he can make an impact this year on the offensive line. I know I see him in school. He's a really big kid. The receivers for Hills this year, we have Monahan and Zafino's in the back, and the punt team's out, so we'll give you the rest of the receivers later. But Eric Moskal taking the punts this year.
I still have no clue what that penalty was, Nick.
No, late hit. It couldn't have been anything.
Did
on
not really.
Hackensack,
Did not
'cause
seem
they're
to have. I thought it was on Hackensack, but it did not affect any of the yardage. So still 4th down.
Fair catch called by Hackensack. Good pump by Moskal. Looks like it's inside the 5.
That's a fantastic first punt by Moskal. And I think that's his first varsity punt ever.
Yeah, it possibly could be. Last year, sophomore Eric Moskal saw the field a little bit as a D-back and a wide receiver, but really didn't see the field as punter, as they had Brian Dowling taking the punts last year, which was a surprise at the beginning of the season. But as the season, continued forward, you saw that he could actually punt it.
So at this point, you see a fantastic kickoff from sophomore Kyle Martinez and a great punt from junior Eric Moskal. So the future of special teams looks pretty good at this point.
Yeah, a sophomore definitely, and Eric Martinez. He'll be here for 2 more years. And then Eric Moskal has another year on him. On the defense, looks like, from what I could see, there's only 1 junior starter, so that's going to be questionable for next year. We have Ryan Cardox on defense. And then it looks like Moskal and Mike Arena, number 25, are taking switches at cornerback. Oh, tipped off by Troy Zafino. 2nd down about to come up.
And a nice deflection there. I have a little information, some research that I did on Hackensack. I found out that famous Green Bay Packers coach Vince Lombardi was actually offered $6,000 to coach here. Unfortunately, he was coaching at St. Silesia's in Englewood. He couldn't get out of that job. So Hackensack turned to Tom DeLaTour to coach, and he won 13 championships for this school. He later served as the athletic director, and when he retired, they named the athletic field after him.
To get an athletic field named after you must have had a big impact, but imagine a Vince Lombardi field in New Jersey. Hackensack's going to run this. Running back finds some room. Looks like he'll get a gain of about 5 there. 3rd down is coming up. Matt Greenfield, a sack and a tackle so far that I've counted, so he's off to a quick start this season.
Greenfield made that tackle, and that's pretty surprising because that's not exactly his area since he's playing defensive line, and that was back, obviously, past him, so he went back to make that tackle.
Matt Greenfield, we talked about him last year, but he's really a great player. Very quick off the line, can get by a lot of the offensive linemen that happen to be bigger than him. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Hackensack will run it again. This time they get nowhere. Jason Evidesian with a combination of number 84, Joe Lane on that one. Oh, Ryan Cardux, I'm sorry.
Apparently that went for 4 yards, and from our angle, that did not look like it went anywhere, but nonetheless, Wayne Hill still made the stop.
This is not our typical setup for the TV games. We usually have a TV right in front of us to see it, but we're at an away field right now, so we don't have much. So we'll do the best we can. Monahan fielding the punt. And he'll go wide right. He has some open room here to the 30. Tackled it, looks around, maybe the 20. Another flag thrown on the play.
Again, after the play. And it looks to be a defensive penalty.
So Wayne Hill's going to move up a couple more yards for that one.
Holding penalty, as they just set up a loudspeaker. That's a great return by Monahan, moving in and out of tackles and breaking tackles, getting down the sideline before finally being tackled after 20, 25-yard return.
Yeah, punts are hard to return. People don't realize it, but you get that punt, you have to make a decision where you're going to go quick because the defense is closing in on you.
Monahan's always had good field vision. He used to be a quarterback in middle school and was converted to a wide receiver.
He's had a lot of experience.
He's had
a lot of experience at the punting position, at receiving punts. He's been doing it since his sophomore year. Olsen handoff to Zaffino. Looks like he'll be the main running back this year. Last year there was question whether it would be Santoro, Zaffino, or Beveridge, but it looks like we're going to have Zaffino this year taking Brian Dowling's position.
I've heard from many players on the football team that it's going to be a three-headed monster with Zaffino, Santoro, and Beveridge. But right now, we have not seen Santoro or Beveridge.
We haven't seen Santoro on the defensive side of the ball either. So, as we said, we haven't got much information on this Wayne Hills team yet. So, I'm wondering if he's possibly injured or I don't know what. So, Wayne Hill's taking a timeout here. Coach Olsen looks like he's going to give his offense a lecture.
So,
as they're saying, the game is being covered by MSG Varsity. You could watch the highlights on MSG Varsity some night this week.
I believe it airs on Sunday, I think, Channel 14. So, this is the second year in a row that Wayne Hills and Hackensack have squared off the first week of the season. In 2 days, it'll be a year since they played. And Wayne Hills shut Hackensack out 34-0. And I was talking to the Avedisians earlier today for our segment on the line, and I mean they said Hackensack certainly improved, but so did Wayne Hills, and their defense certainly looks very, very good so far. So another shutout does not seem that would not be that surprising at this point.
That defensive line is back to what I saw it, I believe, my freshman or sophomore year. It was an unstoppable line. They had Nick Tuminello. I believe it was my freshman year. I wasn't announcing yet, so I don't remember. But it was this unstoppable line that year, and they're pretty close to it this year with both Evidesians, Joe Lane, and Matt Greenfield, all returning starters. As Zaffino won't go down, gets a couple extra yards on that one.
As Zaffino nears the first down marker.
3rd and 1 for Wayne Hills.
A line this year, you got your brothers, the Avedisians, who both weigh like 240 pounds each. You have Garrett Rubin, Roberto, Corey Conforth, and then occasionally Joey Lane at tight end. That's a pretty big offensive and defensive line. I would be scared if I were facing them.
As looks like so Zaffino inches away.
And we'll wait for the referees to spot the ball.
I can't see Wayne Hills kicking a field goal in this position. Something I'll be excited to see is how sophomore Eric Martinez will do at kicking the field goals. I mean, we haven't seen anything of him yet other than that opening kickoff. It was good, but field goals are a whole other game.
That's true. You have a very wide area to kick it if you're on kickoffs, obviously, from the sides of the field, but he seems to have a very strong leg, but accuracy is probably even more important on kickoffs than power is.
So Wayne Hills will get the first down on that one. First and goal for the Patriots from the 2-yard line. See if they can put their first points on the board for the season.
I think they'll keep running it, but I would like to see maybe a nice play-action pass from Kevin Olsen. See how he
might
can
see
do
it.
in the red zone situations.
Zaffino again. Stopped us like just short. Nothing's really changed in this Wayne Hills offense.
And he fumbled the ball.
Wow. As I was saying, not much has changed in this Wayne Hills offense. It's still a dominant run offense.
Unfortunately, Zaffino fumbled there. I've never really understood the point of, when you're on the opponent's 2-yard line, running right into their defensive line to try to score.
It's more of it's a battle of the lines, and I guess we saw that Hackensack's won, or Troy Zaffino had slippery hands, or someone knocked it out, or I don't know. Looks like we have an injury on the field. Zaffino.
I think it's Troy.
Yeah, it looks like Zaffino is injured on the field. So we'll get the medical team on that one.
I mean, and the fumble was bad, but this is really dangerous for Wayne Hills.
Well, we know that all three running backs for Wayne Hills had varsity experience last year. Justin Beveridge took some plays at running back. Also Dom Santoro, and the main guy right now, Troy Zaffino, took whenever Brian Dowling wasn't in, he took a lot of them.
I remember announcing last year, and I always liked Beveridge every time I saw him. He seemed fast, shifty, wouldn't go down. So it looks like if Zaffino's gonna stay down, it looks like we'll see him in a few in the upcoming drives.
Yeah, Beveridge is a really hard runner. That's what I've noticed from him, from seeing him run last year, from not in the games. He wouldn't go down without a fight, and he's a small guy, but he can explode through a hole. When he finds a hole, he'll run right through it, and he won't go down until he gets a couple people on him.
No, none of the running backs are above 6 feet tall. But I know Zaffino's 5'9", and he's the starting running back.
We have Justin Beveridge there, 5'10", 168.
And Dom Santoro, as we are looking for him.
So we'll see what this injury is going to do to Troy. I mean, this could be a big blow to Wayne Hills.
Dom is also 5'9".
As we're looking at the roster, Santoro is a running back. I apologize. Running back and linebacker at 5'9", 185. So Zaffino being helped off the field, this can't look good for him.
This is really bad, not only for him, but also for the whole Wayne Hills football team this year. They were really counting on him, especially after that game-winning play last year to pick up the slack that Dowling left. And if he has to be helped off the field, this could be a potentially serious injury.
A starter both ways for Hills, so they do have one thing Wayne Hills always has, a deep lineup. They have a deep roster, a lot of people on the bench that are ready to go in and are just as good as the other people to go in. They all know the plays, they all practice hard.
There were times last year when we would talk about Troy potentially breaking the single-season school record for interceptions in a season. He got very close last year. I'm not sure how many he had, but I think he's second single season now. I don't think he broke it. But he's second as a junior, so he was really looking to the senior year to potentially break the record. And this injury could be very detrimental to the offense and to the defense.
Is Hannenberg the leader?
I'm not sure, Nick.
I'll have to look that up when we get home and bring it back to you next Friday. So, Hackensack ball from inside their own 10-yard line. So we'll see if Wayne Hills can repeat with another defensive stop. Hackensack take the snap. And they'll try to run it out of their end zone, but runs right into the wall of the Evadicians.
He gained maybe 1 on that play. But like I said, when you're running right into a big wall defensive lineman, I wouldn't expect anyone to go very far.
I was never a big fan of running when you're on the opposite goal line. I mean, it seems easy to get sacked. I don't know. That's just my personal opinion on it, though. We now have announcer Josh Mordkoff joining us. So, Josh, what are your views on this game so far?
Well, so far, Hills was making the push. They were, I guess, had the benefit of all these penalties, all the flags. But I think Troy's injury is definitely going to hurt the morale of the team right now.
Yeah, that injury, we see already Troy's out. So we have number 9 for Wayne Hills, Robbie Schiller, taking the secondary over for Troy. So we'll have 4th down for Hackensack, it looks like. So the fumble not really affecting Wayne Hills.
4th and 7 from the 5. We'll see if maybe Wayne Hills can break through and block this punt.
Now we see back there Moskal and Monahan. So, as we mentioned before, Wayne Hills with a very deep roster. Eric Moskal, a starter on this team, just takes Troy's position as taking punts while he's injured. Monahan will take this one again, take it to the left side. He's got some room. This will be a good return for him. And he's... Touchdown, Wayne Hills. Andrew Monahan with the punt return breaks the pylon and gives Wayne Hills their first touchdown of the season.
And again, Monahan, very shifty, very fast, going in between tackles. And it paid off there with the punt return touchdown.
Very good dive to the pylon. And right now we'll see sophomore Eric Martinez take his first extra point of the season. That was a big question for us coming into this game, who the kicker would be.
First score of the 2011 season, this is really what's going to set the bar right now. They're going to have to keep pushing on from now, and hopefully a lot more will come.
Monahan holding, taking Eugene Lowe's position of last year. I think I saw a jump, and that one splits the uprights, but it seems that Hackensack jumped early.
It was a practice kick.
So I think that should really put the momentum in Hill's favor. Obviously, I think they had it and then lost it a bit with the Zaffino fumble and injury. But with the first score of the game, end of the season here, that should really give us some momentum.
They can come back with a vengeance now after Zaffino being injured, but we'll see if he comes back later in this game. I don't know the status about him now, but hopefully we'll get information about that later.
That's another thing about Hills football. When one guy goes down, they all go down together. There's a really strong camaraderie between all these players. It's almost like it's a big. They're all brothers basically. They're all practicing all year. They see each other every single day, and they're all there for each other. And when one guy goes down, they're all going to be there to pick up the slack.
Wayne Hills with a false start.
Hey, Martinez is 2 for 2.
So we see extra points so far this year not to be a problem. It's, well, at least for the kicker, not for the offensive line.
So this is going to be about, let's see, it'll be on the 12, I think they're going to spot it. So
29?
That's about 29-yard field goal. Extra point.
As you mentioned before, Josh, this team is really a family. Football at Wayne Hills is a 9-month sport. You end in December and you start in January or February lifting.
Right.
And then the actual football starts in July, maybe mid-August. And you play all the way until November, December, until the state championship. It's been the couple past years. They really haven't not made the playoffs in a while. That one muffed by Martinez.
That was certainly not Martinez's fault. That was a horrendous snap.
I guess third time wasn't the charm here.
When it's snapped bad, you can't wait because you have many players coming in. They're bringing everyone. So the right thing to do for Martinez there was to kick it wherever it was, and obviously it wasn't snapped right or placed right, and that resulted in a missed extra point.
In the official stat book, he's over 1 this season on extra points, but in our book, I think he's 2 for 3.
Yeah, we'll go with 2 for 3 for that. So Wayne Hills will be kicking off to Hackensack again as they have the 6-0 lead. We near the end of the first quarter, just under 3 minutes left in this one.
And it looks like Martinez is going to come back out for the kickoff.
He can't be happy. I mean, you make the first two and then you get put back like that and not even getting a real chance to make the kick. So we'll see how he does on this kickoff. If he
Like we said, that wasn't Martinez's fault that he missed a kick. I think he was psyched out by both false start penalties as well as a pretty poor snap.
The Wayne Hills kickoff team looks like a good mix of juniors and seniors, and the sophomore Martinez, a good kick there by him. Put them right around the 5. They'll start off. A nice move by Hackensack. That'll get them to about the 25-yard line. So good return there.
And that was a good kick. You know, Martinez shook that one off and just went right back on the field and went back at it.
Yeah, he must have realized that it's not his fault for the kick, so he just brushed it right off and went to the kickoff for a good one.
And guys, that one right down the middle of the field.
Yeah, possibly could have made a field goal from that. Maybe if it was a little closer. Zaffino still not back on the field, so we'll have Robbie Schiller playing. And it looks like we just have a single safety back there with Monahan. Schiller possibly playing cornerback or safety. I can't tell from here. Hackensack with the play action. A deep throw right there. Monahan can't catch up with it, but it'll be second down for the Comets.
It's a gutsy play call on first down. But after Hackensack had run 9 out of the last 10 times, I don't think it's out of the blue.
Some good coverage right there from Monahan and Schiller. You know, kept up with the receiver and didn't let him get to the ball. So that's what they got to do.
Yeah, they had him double covered the whole way, unless the receiver made some spectacular play or the quarterback made a spectacular pass. They weren't going to get that one past the 50. So we have 2nd and 10 for Hackensack. A run for Hackensack, finds room, breaks a couple tackles for Hackensack, number 1. He'll get the first down and a little more. Michael Perez, the senior for Hackensack, with the nice run. Nick DeSico back from injury last season. We haven't mentioned him that much, but he's a starter on this team, and he comes in for fullback sometimes on offense, and he's a full-time defensive starter, I believe.
Nick's a kid that's definitely very hungry for some tackles and some playing time. He had a very bad leg injury, and now he's coming back. You know, he's ready to go in, ready to hit some guys. I think he's going to be a good player this season, definitely.
DeSico's really a legacy at Wayne Hills with 2 brothers, Dan and Pete, that played here.
Nick loves football, and I know I was on the sideline last season when he got injured, and he just couldn't take it, and he said, I just can't wait to come back next season. Hackensack with the pass. He looked to run before he caught the ball, and that resulted in a drop pass. So we'll have 2nd down for Hackensack.
And Marcus Parker dropped the ball there, but it happens to the best of us.
Conforth taking some defensive snaps now. Well, I don't know if it would be called defensive snaps, but nonetheless.
Maybe nose guard, Nick.
And Parker comes to the sidelines after that drop, so I guess coach has a few choice words to say to him.
Yeah, when you're not getting many opportunities in this game, other than the few runs they've broken loose on, you really have to capitalize. And that he was wide open for a couple yards, it looked like to me, and he just couldn't come in with the pass. A run from Hackensack as Marcus Parker, looks like he gains about 5. Oh, Mike Perez, I'm sorry.
Hackensack looks like they're pushing up the
Santoro
field.
isn't, we believe. So, looks like he's not taking many snaps at running back, but we'll see around their next possession if he takes them.
Wayne Hills never in the biggest team. A lot of their players are 5'9", 5'10", but if you're going to say one thing about Wayne Hills, they have probably the most heart out of any team in North Jersey.
Wayne Hills knows how good they should be every year after seeing it year in, year after, waiting on the bench for their time to shine. As Hackensack will break through for the first down. Good run there by Marcus Parker after that missed pass. So it looks like he comes back and capitalizes on it.
Hills really has to make some stops here. Hackensack looks like they're running up and down the field. The Hills defense really has to come back, plug the holes, and make sure that they do not advance anymore, because this could be a detrimental run.
The big defensive line seems to have a few holes in it, as displayed by this drive. So hopefully they can rectify that.
That's what most surprised me about these runs, how they're breaking in, is they're getting right by this line. Either Hackensack has a really good line or this defensive line is just slacking a little bit. There's Marcus Parker again. Looks like he'll be taking the snaps at running back.
And they're finally on our side of the field, so we can really get a nice view of what's going on. We can see that was only a gain of 1 of the toss.
Yeah, from our seat, it's kind of a hard angle to see the gains down in Hackensack territory, but we won't see another play this quarter, and we'll go right into the second quarter from this one. So Wayne Hills leading the Hackensack Comets 6-0 after the first quarter. Not a blowout yet, and we don't know if we'll see one. So we'll take a break on that one and come back for the start of the second quarter. And we're back for the start of the second quarter as the teams switch sides. So the yardage will be a little clouded for us, but we'll give you our best take on it. But Alex, what did you see from that first quarter? I mean, not the blowout people were expecting.
I completely agree with you, Nick. The defense had looked good until this drive, and they're still playing decently overall. But obviously a few holes in the running game, and I'll continue after this play.
Yeah, that defensive line really needs to step up. It seems like the big plays are when they break through. Deep pass from Hackensack. Dropped. That looked like it could have been caught, but double coverage steps up right there. I believe Monahan and Schiller again, so they're doing really well in the secondary for Wayne Hills. So Troy Zaffino's shoes looks like have been filled on the defensive side of the ball.
As for the offense hasn't really done that much. The running game's been getting a few yards here and there, but it was Monahan's big punt return that has been the game breaker so far.
Yeah, if you really look at the stats of this game, Wayne Hills doesn't have many offensive yards. It's that one punt return that's keeping them in this game.
Actually, the 2 punt returns by Monahan have been fantastic. Of course, Zaffino fumbled away that drive, I should say, that was led to by the punt return.
Flag on the play. False start against the Patriots again. So the Patriots will be giving Hackensack some yards on that. So
I saw the lineman jump. I wasn't sure whether it was caused by the offensive lineman jumping, but apparently it was not.
Guarino taking some defensive snaps at quarterback. It's always nice to see him in there. Very good player. Takes some offensive snaps at wide receiver also. Breaks right through the Wayne Hills defensive line, and a great block there for Hackensack.
Wow, that was a big block.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys caught that, but...
That was a huge block for Hackensack. Definitely a momentum builder for them, and we might see Hackensack take an early lead in this game.
You know, it looks like Hackensack's starting to run all over Hills, and I think definitely loss of Troy. I mean, there's a loss of size, there's a loss of speed. This is actually hurting the Wayne Hills defense right now.
Sorry, Nick. Aside from the physical losses that go along with losing Troy, it's also just like a momentum changer.
Right. It's a morale. It's a loss of morale.
Is he a senior captain this year?
I believe Troy is. It's Monahan, Roberto Alvarez,
Losing the captain.
Joe Lane. Yeah, Troy Zafino's a captain. The defensive line comes in there and stops, but it seems like they're breaking through the middle. So not really a problem for Matt Greenfield or the other, and I believe it's one of the Evidesians, but more of an internal problem. They're going to have to get that fixed.
In school, the only way I can tell apart the Evidesians is by the shoes they're wearing. Except now that they're wearing the same shoes, it's a lot harder. But luckily enough, they had different jersey numbers.
It took me years to tell them apart. I played baseball with them freshman and sophomore year, but then every summer I would have to come back and relearn how to tell them apart. So Hackensack on the 9-yard line with a throw in the end zone. Dropped pass. Great coverage there. I believe Andrew Monahan. Robbie Schiller on that one with a good stop. So Hackensack approaching a 3rd down.
We've seen a few great scoring opportunities for Hackensack, but the receivers just aren't capitalizing, and that'll be a big advantage for the Hills team right now.
There's a lot of contact there between Schiller and the wide receiver, but it went both ways. I'm glad the referee made no call.
Yeah, I'm a big person of let them play unless it's like obvious. I mean, you see nothing wrong with a little physical football. I mean, that's what the sport is.
Physical's a very physical. Football's a very physical game. Excuse me, and I think it should be played as such.
So Hackensack, third and 6 on the 9-yard line. A pass, same play, but to the other side to Garino.
And
Looks
that was blatant pass interference.
Looks like we're gonna have pass interference.
And that'll unfortunately give Hackensack an automatic 1st down. As the receiver turned around, it looked like Garino ran into him, and that certainly messed up his concentration, and he missed the ball. But
Are you
pass
guys
interference.
worried yet about this Wayne Hills team? I mean, surely not the blowout we saw last year against Hackensack, and it seems like it's been a close game thus far, with just the punt return by Monahan changing the game.
The score's a lot closer than what we predicted, guys, and I mean, it's not looking too good right now, especially 1st and 5, I guess, right?
1st and goal, yeah, on the 4-yard line. So the handoff right up the middle.
And that goes nowhere.
Ooh.
A 3-yard
Alright.
gain for Hackensack.
I was wrong.
As we mentioned before, and we'll keep mentioning it, the angle here, you can't see the yards. You can only see what the players do. So small gains like that are hard to see.
It's 6-0 on the scoreboard, Wayne Hills, but I mean, I gotta say, guys, it looks like Wayne Hills is really getting outplayed offensively and defensively. And if it wasn't for Monahan's great special teams play, it would not be a Wayne Hills lead.
Special teams can certainly change a game. As a hand-up right up the middle. Looks like we'll have a stop there by the defensive line.
I'm fairly sure they didn't get in this time.
Just under 10 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. If the game continues like this, Coach Olson's going to have to say something at halftime to get his team remotivated or something. I really don't know.
You asked if we were concerned, and at this point with 10 minutes left, I'm not that concerned. But, I mean, I think Olson's going to chew out his players at the half. But if we're going into the 4th quarter with a game like this, that would certainly concern me.
That's when you need to start worrying. But
right now it's early.
As you mentioned, we are still very early in this game, not even at halftime yet. And a stop here would definitely be a momentum booster for Wayne Hills. Right up the middle again. And they won't get in, so 4th down for Hackensack, and we'll see what they do for this. We'll see.
Sorry, Nick. The defense looks like they're coming back. You know, they're stuffing.
Yeah, he lost the yard on the play. I'm sorry to interrupt.
But it looks like they're stuffing the holes now, and hopefully they keep this up because they cannot let this ruin their momentum. Hills defense needs to make a big play right here.
Well, looks like.
Are they going to kick?
Looks like they'll be going for it. I mean, with this Wayne Hills defense, they could spark up at any moment, so they know points might be hard to come by later in the game. So they'll be taking this on 4th down, 4th and goal. So we'll see what happens here if Wayne Hills can make a stop. going to the pass. In the corner of the end zone, touchdown for Hackensack as they tie this game up 6-6.
All right, now I'm starting to get a little scared.
That was a fantastic play call. I did not expect him to go with the run, as it had failed the past 3 plays, and pass to the corner of the end zone works pretty often. It worked right there.
It just seemed like they found a hole in the zone. I mean, he really wasn't covered by anyone, so until the pass was thrown in.
Right, there was no one there. No one there at all.
One of the defensive ends, I believe it was Greenfield, seemed like he beat his guy, and he was chasing after the quarterback too, so that gave him added pressure, but still was able to make the pass. And they'll take the lead in this one, 7-6. So an early lead for Hackensack, 7-6. Certainly did not expect this, guys.
Those 2 false starts on the extra points for Wayne Hills could really be a crucial factor later in this game.
We'll see how Wayne Hills bounces back in this one. But yeah, 7-6 Hackensack, and as we heard, this Hackensack team, you can't look down on them. They've improved over the last year, and they're really coming back. It's their home opener, it's their season opener, and they want to win. We saw them come out fired up in the opening of the game, and as of right now, they're controlling the game.
You know, the proof is in the pudding. 7-6, like you said. And I expected it to maybe be close, but I did not expect the Comets to take the lead at all. I'm very excited to see what happens. I'm on the edge of my seat.
I mean, in my pregame prediction, I believe I predicted a shutout for Wayne Hills, so I think I'm wrong at this point.
I'm still looking good at my 31-24 prediction, so we'll see how those air out. Hackensack with the kickoff. Wayne Hills, I mean, their special teams has been the only thing acting for them, so Monahan or Schiller is going to have to look for a big play here, as their offense really hasn't been doing much.
Ever since Troy went down, this team's really been playing a lot worse, so that injury could affect more than just the play of the game.
There he is. Monahan will field it, and he's really been the heart of this team so far, taken down around the 40-yard line, really making things happen on special teams when much else is not happening anywhere else.
You know, Monahan is putting the team on his back right now. And, I mean, you really you can't rely on your special teams. You need to have the offense. You got to have the defense. It's not a one-way thing, you know. The whole team's really got to participate, but we're not seeing any of that right now.
Absolutely fantastic return by Monahan there. Again, very fast, moves in between and breaks tackles. And that was a 35, 40-yard return. That's really big, especially when your momentum's against you and you're losing.
So we have the handoff. It'll go off to Robbie Schiller. He'll be taking Troy Zaffino's place on both sides of the field. Now, I'm surprised not to see Justin Beveridge or Dom Santoro back there, Alex.
Potential injury alert for Hackensack. It looks like running back Michael Perez is limping off the field. So we'll see how that could affect their team on this in the upcoming drives.
I hope that big return will set the pace this drive.
As we hear from the stands, Andrew Monahan may have just puked as Olsen with another handoff to Schiller. But back to Andrew Monahan, he may have just thrown up from pregame jitters, from excitement, we don't know what, from anxiety.
I think I saw that too, Nick. That was not pretty.
Yeah, but when you're making everything happen for the team, I guess you're allowed to puke on the field.
Do we see a replacement?
I mean, it's a high net. I'm sure it's showing like dehydration.
Right.
So hopefully we'll get some Gatorade in him and he'll be ready to play defense and get some more great returns
He'll
out
rub
of him.
some dirt on it.
So we see Kevin Olsen taking the snap. He'll do play action. Sees number 84. Oh! With a collision midair. And I believe that was Joe Lane, possibly at tight ends. I didn't know we would see that this year. I thought he was strictly a line player, but I guess he's showing his versatility as he was going out for a pass there.
I've heard he's lining up as tight end and fullback this season, and he was one of the best linemen on the team last year, which really shows that if he's not on the line anymore, that's fantastic depth in the line.
And, he's a big kid. If he's got good hands, he can be a very, very effective tight end. Hopefully we can see some of that this season.
Joe Lane, former hockey player. I don't know if he'll be coming back next year, but had the hardest slap shot on the team. One of Wayne Hill's biggest players this year, as the pass to Eric Moskal with a nice move. Looks like he'll gain about 3 or 4. But back to Joe Lane, he's a very big kid. He's a very scary kid to tackle, so we'll see how he does at tight end and fullback this year.
I believe that's Olsen's first completion of the game.
And the season.
Of the season as well, and that's coming with 6.5 minutes left in the second quarter, so I said in pregame that I think he needs to step up if Wayne Hills needs to win, if he wants to win this game, and he hasn't done much of anything this game, and if you look at the score, they're down 7-6, so like I said, I think he really needs to step up.
One of the problems for Wayne Hills, I think everyone's they've seen them run and run and run the past few years. Even when Mike Quinn was quarterback, he would roll out and run a lot, so teams, as we see, Hackensack defense move early, so back to what I was saying, though. Wayne Hills has been a predominantly running team for the past few years, and teams may just be bringing the house and just blitzing them all the time until they could see what Olsen can do.
I think that's a lot of high school football. It's a big running game, and I love seeing when they roll out, give the good play action pass, and make big things happen from that. I think if Olsen can definitely take advantage of his arm and his receivers, it'll be a great advantage to the Hills team this year.
So it seems like we had a false start on the Patriots on that one. Not an offsides by Hackensack.
And that's a really big penalty because that moves a manageable 3rd and 2 into a much tougher 3rd and 7. And your offense has been slacking this game. A 3rd and 7 is even a lot tougher than a 3rd and 2, which you can just get your 2 yards running. With 7 yards, it's asking a lot more.
They're going to have to look to the pass because their running game, there it is, play action pass. Got Eric Moskal open. Nice catch by Moskal as he's taken down around the 22-yard line. So Kevin Olsen's second completion is a big one as they get the first down, and they're now inside Hackensack territory.
Perfectly executed play, beautiful pass, nice catch, and a big first down.
Michael Perez limping again off the field, so he'll go to the trainers again to get stretched out. But he surely doesn't want to miss this game as a 7-6 game Hackensack lead, which not many fans, I'm sure, were expecting, as Wayne Hills comes in every year, and every year they blow out their season opener. Olsen under center, 2 in the backfield. He'll drop back for a strict pass right to Garino. Not a good game for Garino so far. From what we've seen, the pass interference in the end zone and now that drop pass.
You can't have that. You can't have that at this point in the game. You need to, that's a great pass. He saw the open receiver. Big potential with that play. You need to make everything happen at this point when you're down.
As he runs off to the sidelines, one of your football fundamentals is that you got to catch before you can run, and unfortunately, I guys forgot that right there.
Monahan back on the field, so we'll see if he can impact this game anymore. Eric Moskal also receiving with him. Olsen back to pass. He's got 2 receivers to Monahan in the corner. Oh! In Monahan's hands. Looked like it was tapped out by the Hackensack secondary. And then Monahan tried to pick it up, but it already hit the ground at that point, so we'll have a 3rd down for Wayne Hills.
Although Monahan couldn't capitalize there, that was a great throw by Olsen. Right on the money. If he can keep doing that, as long as his receivers can make the catches, he's going to do great.
So the words right out of my mouth, thread of the needle there. Could not have made a better throw right at the corner of the end zone.
Double coverage also.
If anyone was going to catch that pass, it was going to be Monahan, and unfortunately he dropped that one. But hopefully he'll get another few opportunities.
Not as much of a drop as a padded ball, but not to...
Right. I'd like to see another pass here.
Yeah, passing is exciting to me. I don't like the run, as we have a timeout by Hackensack there. So what do you think the coach is going to be saying? They've played really well up to this point, but Wayne Hills seems to be picking up their feet a little bit, gaining some momentum.
I think the Hackensack coach is going to be focusing on the pass coverage. 2 plays right there, open receivers. I think Hills is really gaining the momentum in the passing game, and if they can't shut that down, then Hills is definitely going to capitalize off that.
Now, this is what Wayne Hills, I like to see them do. So, as you said, Hackensack coach is probably going to be like, you have to cover the pass more, and that opens up the run right away, and it even opens up the play action for Wayne Hills, as you run it a couple of times, then you'll fake the run and hopefully have a pass wide open to make in the end zone. But really having a good variety when you're playing is what it's all about.
We'll see if Olsen knows his reverse psychology here. Maybe he'll go with the run if they're expecting the pass. I'm excited to see what this next play is.
3rd and 10, I do foresee a pass. I think 10 yards running is tough to get, but looking beyond this play, if they don't get this first down, and let's say it's an incomplete pass, that's a 40-yard field goal for sophomore Eric Martinez if they elect to kick a field goal. So that should be a very interesting sight to see as well.
Yeah, let's get past this first play first. Let's hope they get the first down, but Olsen in shotgun, so hopefully we're going to be looking at a pass. Flag on the play. There's Eric Mosco. He'll pick up the first down, but we believe we have a flag on the play. This one might be coming back. An illegal shift against the Patriots, so this one will be coming back.
That is just a drive killer. That's going to be a 5-yard penalty on a play when you just got a big first down, and now it's going to be 3rd and 15.
Really, I don't think the shift affected the play that much either, so without that shift, you'd probably still have this first down.
You know, that's unfortunate because Moscow did what he had to do. He made the great catch. He got there, he toughed it out, and got to the first down. But, you know, the penalties, this is really going to hold the Hills team back right now.
And now it would be a 45-yard field goal. Very, very tough in the NFL, let alone high school.
I don't think we'll see a field goal kicked on this one. So 3rd and 15 for the Patriots. Look, we're going to be looking at shotgun again. This is the only guess I can give. Shotgun or a play action, but most likely shotgun.
I think we're in 2-down territory here. I think you have 3rd and 4th down to get the first down.
Yeah, there's not going to be any punts at this. There's the play action, and he's got a receiver open in the middle. A flag on the play. We're looking at pass interference. This one will be brought to Wayne Hills into goal line territory.
You know what I'm noticing? That the Hills offensive line is really, really doing a great job of keeping the defense away from the quarterback. Olsen has a lot of time in the pocket, and he has the ability to make the great throws. I say he owes a big, big thanks to his offensive line.
Wayne Hills definitely stepping up in the end of the second quarter.
That's pass interference against the Comets. That's an automatic first down and a big first down for Wayne Hills. Eric Moskal was wide open across the middle, but Olsen decided to go with the daring play, which didn't necessarily work out, but that was because there was pass interference.
I believe Garino was in on that play, so good to see him back in the game, seeing that he won't let those plays affect him. You have to have a short memory as a football player, and we see that with Garino with an open pass. We would like to see what he would do, but Olsen going to Monahan, still working out though. So I'll have 1st and 10 on the Hackensack 14. Play action again, so Cardox just can't come up with it. A little high.
After 4 or 5 straight passing plays, I was expecting the run there, and they went to play action. Caught me off guard. I'm sure I caught Hackensack got it a little too.
Yeah, I mean, you saw right when they got that first down, I was also expecting a run, and the play action, it fooled me. Maybe the running game, it wasn't even like it was bad after Zaffino left. Schiller was doing great. It's just that they're trying to let Kevin Olsen shine a little bit on this play, on this drive at least.
I mean, Olsen's arm is looking good. He's putting the ball where he needs to be. That one a little high, but it's catchable, definitely doable. These receivers really got to help him out. I think that's what's gonna get the momentum going and let Hills control the pace of the game.
The thing to know about Kevin Olsen is he still has another year at this, and he had a prior year, so he's gonna be a 3-year starter for Wayne Hills, and you're definitely gonna see experience take over in some of these games. Having that varsity experience is definitely a plus.
I like Kevin Olsen a lot. I've had classes with him. He's a great guy, great football player. But if there's one thing I gotta say I don't like about Kevin, it's the fact that he has all these college offers, and I'm busting my butt to get my Common App and my college apps out.
Maybe if you had started quarterback when you were younger, you'd be out on that field getting the college offers.
If I was 6'3", I think.
My condolences to your professional football career.
Now, I don't know if it's just me, but Kevin Olsen just looks like a quarterback.
He looks a lot more poised than he did last year.
Yeah.
Looks more confident.
Which is
this year,
good,
definitely,
absolutely.
I definitely think the Hills varsity squad is a developed team. They're all getting older, and they even got some younger guys out there to definitely grow the team for next year.
I interviewed his brother, Kevin's brother, Christian, last year, who also played quarterback at Hills, and I asked Christian when Christian was starting to compare himself to Kevin, and he said Kevin's probably a better quarterback.
So Schiller gets the screen behind the line. He'll make a couple moves, but he's quickly met by 3 Hackensack defenders. As we hear from the stands, I thought I saw a late hit on that also, so this game might be getting a little physical. As we had the few early flags that were after the play, and another one could have been thrown there, but was not.
I gotta say, guys, we cannot ask for a more perfect night for an opening game. It is beautiful out, 70 degrees, clear. Bit humid, but otherwise absolutely beautiful.
It is the perfect night for football right now, and Wayne Hills has to take advantage of this. They're not going to have anything like this in the next couple weeks. It's going to get cold. They're going to start cramping up. They need to make some big plays happen right now.
Olsen back right to Moscow with the... Just can't come up with it. Ball was thrown behind Moscow, so he had to try to make a good play on that one. Just couldn't come up with it, though.
I'm sort of speechless after that. Moscow made a fantastic effort. Not the best throw, but fantastic effort by Moscow.
Yeah, definitely. Moscow took that one from about the 2 or the 1 into 3 or 4 yards deep into the end zone, still trying to make that catch. As we'll have 4th and 8 to go for the Patriots, and Eric Martinez will be out here kicking his first field goal. Well, not his first field goal. We saw him make a deeper one on the false starts.
One word to describe that drive is disappointing. These receivers are just not making it happen. Olsen is putting the ball where it needs to be. And what is that, 4 or 5 incomplete passes?
Martinez splits the uprights there, so good things we see from the sophomore Eric Martinez. So he certainly should have a bright future coming up.
Could not make a better kick there. Straight down the middle. Plenty of power. Kid has a bright future.
Yeah, definitely. It's nice to see a sophomore out there starting for Hills. The sophomores usually don't get much playing time for them. All I can remember last year was Moscow got in, and that's it. And then in the blowouts, they would put in the sophomore lineup.
I guess the mentality behind that would be, to really strengthen their team in the later years, because if you got a young guy out here now, he'll see this year, he'll see next year, and possibly be a great kicker by senior year.
The kicking position was open at the end of this year. No one was lined up behind because the kicker and backup kicker with both seniors. I know I'd heard things about Rob Levine possibly taking kicks, but it seems that Wayne Hills sophomore Eric Martinez was able to beat him out and take the job.
This 2-point lead is looking a little better. My stomach's a little settled now. Hopefully they'll continue scoring.
We'll have to see how this drive goes.
In my 3+ year career at Wayne Hills, I've only been to one game where they've lost, and that was the end of their 55-game winning streak to St. Joe's, which was an incredibly close game. And that came down to a missed extra point, so...
possibly deja vu.
Sort of a bit unsettling there, I gotta say.
The stomach ache's back.
So Martinez back out on the field to take this kick.
Luckily, I think, Nick, me and you were both undefeated as announcers. I don't think Wayne Hills has lost for either of our announcing careers.
Not that I can remember. They had the state loss, but neither of us attended that. And last year, no losses that we announced. Good return there by Hackensack. Just exploded right through the middle to the 35, excuse me.
I want to see the defense make some big stops here. If they can keep this Hackensack offense away from their side of the field, this will be a very successful drive for the defense, of course.
On the return there, Marcus Parker returned the ball, and he seems to be a bit gimpy limping off the field. He's back on now, but if he's not 100%, they also lost their other running back. And they're two best players in the team, so
Yeah, it seems like this whole Hackensack team is revolving around Marcus Parker, Malik Bush, the quarterback, and injured running back Marcus Perez. As the handoff right there again to Marcus Parker, but he's stopped. So the defensive line looks like it's getting a little more comfortable with their situation. See if they'll be able to make some stops this drive and possibly go 3 and out. Surprised to see these Hackensack stands with Hills fans. I mean, there's a visitor bleachers, and it looks just about filled. Not very much sitting room here if you're coming in right now. So, very good support from the Wayne Hills fans coming all the way to Hackensack for this game. Another handoff. The pitch that time to Marcus Parker. And he'll be taken down around the 40.
Dom Santoro made the tackle there, and Dom was trying to get into the backfield and got pushed out, but luckily enough, the push actually put him in the perfect position to make the tackle, or help out with the tackle, I should say.
Very surprising not seeing Dom Santoro running back this year. We see the junior Rob Schiller. I'm sure he must have stepped up in the preseason or scrimmages, or maybe even just to prepare him for next year to take the reins to be the starting running back. But nonetheless, very nice seeing him there, seeing him get experience, and he's doing a very good job. Cardock's in from the linebacker position. Looks like he's going to blitz. Malik Bush back for the pass, and he's sacked. Sack on that one was made by Roberto Alvarez, despite what the Hackensack PA announcer says.
You talked. I'm sorry, Josh. You talked earlier, Nick, about the support that all the Wayne Hills fans and parents make for this team, and that goes without saying. The parents raise so much money for the beautiful new locker room of Wayne Hills, and on the line next week for our new segment, we're actually going to have some interviews in the new locker room, so get excited.
Monahan taking this punt again. He's been Wayne Hills' main special teams guy, and looks like we'll have another flag on the play. But as I was saying, Monahan, really the main special teams guy. All the kicks have either been going to him or he's been taking all the kicks. So it'll be nice. It's nice to see special teams touchdowns. I mean, one of the most exciting plays in football, in my opinion, other than Jason Avedisian's 90-yard fumble return for a touchdown last year.
I'm glad to see Monahan staying on the field, hopefully keeping his liquids in this time after that punt return.
Yeah, maybe just adrenaline or something, but he looks good right now. And the puking aspect took a good return there, so having a good game thus far. So now Wayne Hills in the huddle at the 31-yard line. I formation for Wayne Hills. Olsen under center. And the handoff to Robbie Schiller. He finds a hole in the middle with a very nice gain for the first down. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he's a very quick kid. Very quick. Exploded right through the hole. A little small, I believe, but that can work to your advantage sometimes. I mean, you see Darren Sproles in the NFL. You see Ray Rice also, a very small person, but he's succeeding, surely.
That was a very good pickup for Schiller. And who knows, maybe Hills can score in this last minute before the half. I think that would be very helpful for them to get another 6 points on the board at least.
And they're receiving. Olsen looking deep. Moskal can't quite get it. Underthrown there, had to stop. But it was only single coverage, so the catch could have been made, but just didn't.
That's a very tough throw on the run for any quarterback. And unfortunately just underthrew it. But hopefully, we'll see another play like that. Hopefully a big gain in the next 59 seconds before the half ends.
Yeah, Wayne Hills definitely wants to score before the half because I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but they're getting the ball back in the third quarter.
There's a flag in the Wayne Hills sideline. Potentially a personal foul.
Not what Wayne Hills wants to see in the last 53 seconds. Who knows if they'll just knee it down or what here, Alex? I don't know.
Looks like the flag was put back.
Timeout by Hackensack, so they're going to have to come up with a defensive scheme right now, and as the 2-minute offense comes into play.
Hills has 53 seconds to get into field goal range or score a touchdown. They have 1 timeout left. I think it's doable, even though the offense has not been as fantastic as we would like today, but I think it's very doable and it'll give them a lot more momentum and some breathing room going into the locker room.
Scoring before the half is very important to Wayne Hills right now, as this is only a 2-point game.
They're going to need this extra momentum. This
Any
is big. This is a big drive.
any score by Hackensack, and they're either tied or they're winning this game right now. So Wayne Hills definitely has to make something happen in this last 53 seconds.
Looking at my stats from last year, Hackensack finished 3-7 last year, including a 34-0 loss to Wayne Hills. Morristown, they only had 1 home win all of last season, and we can see they're clearly improved, and they're challenging Wayne Hills right now.
As we mentioned before, the 3 big players it looked like for this team, all seniors, all big offensive weapons, and I'm sure that they were junior starters last year, and they're just coming back this year, wanting to lead this team to more than a 3-7 record. So Wayne Hills with 53 seconds left, 2nd and 10 from the opponent's 45, or from their own 45, excuse me. Olsen with the handoff. Schiller still going, still up. Looks like he'll get the first down on that one with forward progress, but he's very impressive this second quarter as he's came in.
Very important. It looks to me like the clock stops, like in college football on first downs, and especially when Wayne Hills only has 1 timeout. That's crucial at this moment.
That's going to be big. I mean, Schiller's doing what he's got to do. He's finding the holes. He's pushing it through. If they can keep doing this is great momentum. They're controlling the game right now.
Another run by Wayne Hills. Schiller again. He's really just running all over this defense as timeout, I believe, will be called here by Wayne Hills. Just to stop the clock.
I think the clock stops. Like I said, the clock stops on first down so the refs can respot the ball. But Wayne Hills also did call a timeout.
So now Hackensack with 1 timeout remaining. I can't see any reason for them to use this on the defensive side, though. But Wayne Hills really, I think they're going to look to the pass right now because they can't afford to have the clock run anymore.
I think you're on the brink of field goal range. You're not quite in it yet. And I think I need to run towards the sideline or pass towards the sideline, and I lean more towards pass. Get a few in towards the end zone.
Just get yourself in the field goal range. That's what it's about now. And if possible, get it out of bounds. But if not, you're just going to have to run up there and just call one last play or spike it.
This is the first real Hills drive I've seen thus far in the game. They're pushing through first down after first down. They got to keep this going. A score before the half is big. This is very big.
We had this drive and we had what you call the disappointing drive, Josh, where they only came out with the field goal. But 2 drives definitely for Wayne Hills and the special teams touchdown, and we have them with 9 points. Olsen out there talking to them. I can imagine what he's saying, just some sort of pass towards the sidelines just to get out of bounds if the catch is made. Play action for Olsen. That's an interception, but a big tackle for Wayne
Nice
Hills.
tackle.
Both players seem to be down.
Horrendous pass.
And
great tackle.
Both players are back up, and yeah, really an awful pass by Kevin Olsen. I don't know another word to say.
Of course, it's Marcus Parker on the interception. He has been doing everything this game for Hackensack.
I mean, luckily the turnover happens with 16 seconds left. Hills gets the ball back, but that still does not feel good. Kevin does not feel good about that play.
It's Hackensack had stacked the deep, and you can see that there was only 1 receiver going out there too, so all the defenders just closed in on him, and unfortunately it was an overthrow right to the safety. So Hackensack will take the ball I could see, well, it looks like they're going to play it. Malik Bush in shotgun right now, calling the timeout. Seems like his team doesn't know what he's doing.
Some miscommunication there on the part of Hackensack.
Marcus Parker wasn't on the field for that play, so maybe that's why the timeout was called.
I guess the play clock was expiring and they had 10 players in the field. Bark came on and no one came off, so I think it was only 10 players in the field.
Yeah, so very good reason to call the timeout there, as their big playmaker was on the sidelines. I'm not sure what he was doing, but he had to have had a good reason.
And now it looks like they're taking a knee. I was going to say, I didn't really understand why it looked like they were actually going to pass the ball with 16 seconds left at one time from their own 5, but they take the knee there.
So, as the second quarter comes to an end, we have a 7-9 ball game. Wayne Hills with the lead. Now, everyone expected a blowout here. Everyone expected a higher scoring game, but it's just no team can seem to put it in the end zone. It's either turnovers on the goal line, as we saw that fumble earlier by Zaffino on the injury play, or we have penalties that are giving scores, and Wayne Hill's only touchdown coming from the special teams. So what do you think Coach Olson's going to say in his halftime report?
I mean, this really does not look like Wayne Hills football. Olson's really got to put some fire into his players and make them bounce back. They really got to come back with some big plays.
Hills has been really unfortunate, of course, with turnovers, but more so with drive-killing penalties, pass interferences, false starts. And I think he needs to settle down his offensive line, settle down his players to make sure they don't make those stupid mistakes. And I think if you can avoid stupid mistakes, we'll see a completely different Hills team in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. Interceptions are going to happen. Turnovers are going to happen. But penalties are something you have to control. Garino with that pass interference in the end zone, a couple false starts Wayne Hills had. It's really seeming to take a toll on them right now. And they're going to have to come back in the second half and do something. But that's it for us for the first half of action. We'll be back with the second half right after halftime. And welcome back to Tom Delatorre Field here, as a very, I don't want to say uneventful first half, but low-scoring first half, not what we expected here, as Wayne Hills with only a 2-point lead, 9-7 here. But they'll be receiving this half, so we'll see if they can bounce back with a quick touchdown, be ahead of Hackensack by 2 scores.
Let's see if Hills can clean this game up.
Monahan again taking that one. And he'll continue to do big things on the return as he runs towards the left, get right out about to the 45, 40-yard line. So Wayne Hills with good field position to start the half.
Very short kick there to about the 14-yard line and a 31-yard return there from Monahan. Another fantastic return.
You know, Monahan is doing a great job at giving them good field position, making great returns, and he is putting the team on his back currently.
So I got an update at halftime about the injury to Troy Zaffino, and word has it that he has an extended knee. So I looked at the I guess
Prognosis?
Thank you. And I'll say it after this play.
Handoff. Looks like we have Justin Beveridge in there to start the half, and always nice to see him. Looks like a gain of about 5, and it's nice to see Coach Olson getting all the running backs in. Seems like we really will have at least a 2-headed monster this year with how long Troy Zaffino's out. How long will you think he'll be out, Alex, as you have that prognosis?
Well, hyperextension can range from mild to severe injury. Mild, he could be out for 2 to 4 weeks. Severe, he could need to have surgery, because if you hyperextend your knee too much, you can tear your ACL and other ligaments, so you could be out nearly a year.
Another handoff to Beveridge as he runs right up the middle. Still going there, as seems like the whole Hackensack team had to take him down. But if Zaffino's out, it looks like we're going to be seeing Schiller taking handoffs, Beveridge taking handoffs, and I still don't know about Dom Santora if he'll be taking handoffs or not, but we'll have to see later into this game.
The Hills have some great running backs. You know, Troy comes out, they got some guys to put in. Schiller did a great job, you know, and now Beveridge is a really tough kid. He's very fast. Not the biggest kid on the field, but he can take hits.
Yeah, Justin Beveridge, very hard-nosed football player. runs right into the players, runs right into the defense, doesn't care. He's just going to keep moving his feet until they take him down. So the chains will be out to measure this one.
Like you guys said, if Zafino is out, it seems that Eddie Schiller, who played very well in the first half, and Justin Beveridge, who is playing very well right now, will have to pick up the slack. But hoping for the best. Hopefully Troy will be back in a week or two. But he could barely put any weight in his right knee at this moment, or his right leg at this moment. So it's not looking good at the moment, but hopefully he'll heal quickly.
Another handoff to Beveridge as Wayne Hills goes with 3 straight running plays to start off the third quarter.
You know, at this point, we're hoping that Troy's injury is only mild, because more than that would just tear apart the team. That would be so bad.
Losing your captain is especially tough. And Troy's one of the best players on the team, so losing him would be horrendous. Luckily, there's a lot of depth in the team. I'm sorry, Nick. But this was your prognosis from Dr. Green.
Troy, a very versatile player. He can play running back, he can play D-back, he can play wide receiver, he can play cornerback. So really, he was a very, very big utility player in those positions, and he could have played any of them. Olsen back to pass right over the middle. Seems to number 1 Andrew Monahan as he continues to make plays for this Wayne Hills team.
That's a great play. That's how you got to keep the ball moving.
Moves the
pass from
chains.
Olsen.
And
Put
that
it
moves
right
the
where it had
chains.
to be.
It's nice to see Wayne Hills, start off with the run, but they don't go right to the deep pass. They're trying to warm up Kevin Olsen maybe with a couple short passes, and then hopefully we'll see maybe him air it out a little bit later in this third quarter, possibly in the fourth quarter if they need it. Olsen under center. A handoff again. We have a pole obstructing our view, so we don't get that good of a view on the play. So it looks like we're going to have third down coming up. Second and 10, excuse me.
And there's a bit of pushing and shoving after the play. So this game is getting very physical. It's a close game, a lot closer than we certainly expected. And as Hills tries to lengthen the lead, Hackensack is really getting very emotional, pushing and shoving, playing their hearts out.
Wayne Hills doesn't have very many low-scoring games. The last one I can remember was the 15-17 or 16-17 loss to St. Joe's. And we have a timeout by Wayne Hills called, but that's what I was saying. They don't have very many low-scoring games. They have a very, very high-powered offense, very high-powered defense usually, and this game we're just not seeing that much of it.
If there's one thing that I'm a bit concerned about this game so far, and potentially foreshadowing for the season, is that the time and game management by Kevin Olsen seems to be lacking. It's a very early time to use one of your first timeouts, especially in a close game, and it happened again in the first half where they used 2 timeouts early. So that could be a concern later in the season.
So we'll take a quick break on this one, and we'll be right back after the timeout. They'll have the first down on this one. Sorry for that. We had a quick tape change that had to take order, but we're back, hopefully catching the end of that play. And an injury on the field to Hackensack.
Fantastic goal on the run by Kevin Olsen. Great catch. Pick first down. And it looks like the defensive back is injured, even though he was on the opposite side of the field as the play was on.
Don't know how that one happened.
I can't tell what number that is, but
Hopefully not number 5 or number 2, because
if you're Hackensack, those are two of your best players.
Malik Bush and Perez, or
It's
Parker?
Marcus Parker's number 5.
Right.
so we'll have another injury stoppage. Might have been smarter to wait till now to change the tape, but we can't really predict the future. So injuries happening in this game so far. Zafino out, and number 6 for Hackensack limping off the field, and now he's walking on his own, it looks like.
That's DeAndre Jennings, running back / defensive back. And they already lost number 1, Blake Bush. He's their first-string running back along with Marcus Parker. This injury also hurts the team.
Yeah, they've lost 2 running backs so far in this game. And we're not even in the fourth quarter, so just the kind of night tonight is a big injury night, it seems like. But teams will be taking the field again, and we'll see this third quarter go underway as we're just under 9 minutes remaining.
It's not surprising, I don't think, that injuries happening tonight. The difference of difficulty level in between from practices to games is very, very big. So I think when you're not playing complete full contact practices versus full contact games, that makes a big difference with injuries.
Handoff by Olsen to Justin Beveridge again, I believe. Well, Alex, as you mentioned, the intensity in practice compared to games, last year, I don't know if you guys know, but Casey Cardox had a season-ending injury in practice. So maybe the practice intensity has been taken down for Wayne Hills to avoid that again, because he was a big loss for Wayne Hills. Maybe it's been the same, but I could certainly see why they would have lowered the intensity to avoid that happening again.
I really want to see something big here happen. This game it's pretty stagnant right now. We need a big play to spark the offense. That's what we really need right now, Nick.
As we have 2nd and 12, the toss to Schiller cuts right in. Flag on the play. Looks like we're going to have a holding on this one. We'll wait to see what the official ruling on the penalty is.
The flag came in very late there.
No word on the penalty yet, but either way, Wayne Hills inside Hackensack territory. And we have holding against the Patriots, so they'll be backed up 10 yards for that one. So definitely got to watch the penalties if you're Wayne Hills, because that seems to be their Achilles heel tonight.
That really only backed them up 2 yards because the holding occurred 6 or 7 yards downfield.
Play action from Olsen. He looks to the left for Schiller. Schiller cuts inside. He's got an opening. Makes another nice move. And he's down just before the end zone. But really seeing good things from Robbie Schiller so far in this game. Definitely a bright future for him in the Wayne Hills program.
Nice play call there. 2nd and 14 with a play action screen. Schiller made some nice moves there, but it's really good blocking by the wide receivers that let that happen, let that be a first down.
That was a great use of blocking. I saw him weaving in between a few Hills receivers and tight end, and the tight end, making some good blocks.
So Wayne Hills 1st and goal on the 6-yard line. Monahan, the only receiver in the set. And a false start, it looks like, on Wayne Hills. So these penalties again, guys, they can't get away from them. And on this drive, if they aren't to score, that's going to be one of the big reasons.
Well, like I said earlier, penalties are drive killers, and false starts especially this game for Wayne Hills have killed drives, have taken away extra points, and they can make a really big difference later in this game.
Yeah, penalties will kill you if it keeps happening, and Wayne Hills backed up 10 on the holding call. Another false start, that'll back them up 5. So as we see it, it's now 1st and goal on the 11-yard line for Wayne Hills. Monahan, the only receiver out. He's in motion. The handoff to number 6, Christian Rodriguez, a new face, puts his shoulder into Hackensack, but he's taken down a few yards after the carry.
And it looks as if there's an injured Hackensack player.
That's what we're
left and right tonight.
Looks to be a lineman from what I can see, but he is down in the field, so I don't have the best view.
Just injury after injury tonight, and season opener, possibly not warmed up enough, or maybe just too intense. But back to the Wayne Hills running backs, we see another new face there, Christian Rodriguez. So with the loss of Troy, they certainly have they have many players that can fill his shoes. They have Schiller, who was in, Beveridge, Santoro's still back there. He's always a threat. And now we see Christian Rodriguez, who was able to pick up 3 yards on the carry.
Patriots definitely do have a very powerful arsenal of running backs.
You would imagine with the fact that they only used one guy last year, Brian Dowling, that maybe they would try to tailor someone into another Brian Dowling, but they're going to use all their weapons. You have a very nice variety in the running backs. Rodriguez is more of a big guy. He's going to truck some people. Schiller, very quick, very swift inside. We have Troy Zaffino, who, unfortunately, he's injured, but he was just an all-around good player. Could go out for the pass, could run it. And then Santoro also, who's a linebacker, so you know that he can hit hards, and I'm sure that he can deal out some hits with the ball in his hand as well.
Obviously, we knew last year Dowling was one of the best players in the state in the game. The offensive game plan really revolved around him. This year, with Dowling graduating and no one with the caliber, I would say, of Brian Dowling, just to lead a team, put a team on his back, we knew the game plan would change. But I think we're forgetting from last year that aside from having Dowling, you also had Eugene Lowe and Hogan, and they would come in short yardage situations and always pick up the big yardage. And I don't know if you have someone like that can do that can just pound the ball on those short yardage situations. And we haven't. I mean, we've seen 4 or 5 running backs today, but we haven't really seen one person that can really pound the ball.
Wayne Hills did take a lot of big losses last year. Their running backs and fullbacks last year, very big kids. They had Nick Massey, James Hogan, and Brian Dowling, as you mentioned. And then Eugene Lowe, he was great. I never saw him mess up on the snaps. He was a great receiver when he got in and was also a captain, so leadership lost there as well. So we're going to have second down, ball on the 8-yard line, and a timeout called by Wayne Hills after the injury. I don't see why he's calling that timeout, but
I mentioned earlier how it upsets me that the time management, the game management by Wayne Hills has been incredibly poor so far in the first half, and especially the second half. They played 5 minutes and 40 seconds of the third quarter and already used 2 of their timeouts, which is unacceptable in a game this close. When the game come down to the final drive, you're going to need all your timeouts or as much time as you can possibly have, and Wayne Hills is not going to have that later on in the game.
Either they're not expecting a close game at the end, or they're just not thinking of the consequences of using these timeouts so early. But, yeah, as you mentioned, with a close game down in the end, you want as many timeouts as you can get. And Wayne Hills with only one timeout right now, I don't know how it's going to look when you get down into the final minutes of the game if they're going to be driving.
Hopefully they can score here, put up some points, and hopefully that this 2 timeouts will be less of a worry.
Olsen under center. It looks like we have I formation again. Eric Marshall, the lone receiver. And the handoff goes to Christian Rodriguez, and he'll walk in for the touchdown. So Wayne Hills capitalizing on their opening drive. They'll go up 15-7, awaiting the extra point.
If I'm not mistaken, that's Christian Rodriguez's first touchdown. So congratulations to him. And that's a really big play, giving Wayne Hills some breathing room, certainly. And Eric Martino's going to look to make it a 2-possession game here.
This should really get the Hills offense going. This is going to be the catalyst to get them pushing forward more. Maybe even give them some more insurance runs, because this has been a very stagnant game up until now, and I really want to see more out of them.
I can guarantee there won't be any false starts now.
Martinez splits the uprights, so Wayne Hills goes up by 2 possessions. Really, that's the biggest thing, that now Hackensack has to score twice to even tie Wayne Hills.
And that drive took nearly 6 minutes off the clock. That was a very long drive. And I think it was also very long on the play clock and also off the clock, because with the injuries and everything on the timeouts. But they're still...
So now for Wayne Hills, really...
Sorry, there's still over 18 minutes left in this game. And plenty of things can happen. I mean, plenty of things can happen in seconds, as we saw in the state championship last year. So this game's certainly not over yet, but hopefully Wayne Hills to keep this lead and add on to it.
Yeah, Wayne Hills is going to want to make this game as quick as possible from here on out because we've seen what Hackensack can do with the ball. They can drive it down, and they can certainly score. We see they have Malik Bush there. I believe Perez or Parker. We'll get the roster out in a minute to get the full name.
Is that number 4? Is that number 4?
We have Marcus Parker. Excuse me. Eric Martinez with a nice kick there, and Hackensack will take the return. Quickly met by 3 Hills defenders. Looks like they're all juniors too. Ryan Cardox, Kyle Hunsinger, and a third player whose number was not visible.
So that ball was returned by number 4, and looking at the roster, there is no number 4 on Hackensack, according to the updated rosters which we just got before the game. So
Possibly just a senior roster. Who knows though? But
I
there's definitely a number 4 in the field, and there's no number 4 from where we're looking.
I think you're right. I think it is just a senior roster.
Yeah, that's what it looks like here. So a senior roster showing that Hackensack is probably a senior-led team. As last year, Wayne Hills completed pass by Hackensack. But last year, with the exception of Brian Dowling, Wayne Hills was a predominantly junior and sophomore team. They had their whole line, except for Peter Davies, who's now at Georgetown, were all juniors. Most of the secondary was juniors. Troy Zaffino was back there. Brian Dowling was back there. Andrew Monahan, so 2 of the 3. And quarterback, sophomore Kevin Olson was back there. And we haven't really talked much about him, as the last drive was mainly just runs.
I thought with Dowling leaving that Olsen would have a much bigger part in the game plan, especially with him as a junior. He's only had 4 or 5 pass attempts tonight, so I guess not.
Looks like a couple yard gain. So we'll have 3rd down and about 8 to go.
Number 52 for Hackensack is Gimpy.
Yeah, so even more injuries coming up as Jason Evidison walks off the field, I believe.
Getting on the field after a months-long off season, I think just the whole endurance hasn't hit yet. I think as the season goes on, even though the weather will get colder, I think injuries will go down. But opening game, I'm really not all too surprised seeing that many injuries.
Yeah, your body's really not used to the intensity you're playing at right now. It's Hackensack and shotgun. Looks like we're going to have a quarterback sneak in. Roberto Alvarez with the sack on that one. So we're going to have a 4th down for Hackensack, and they'll look to punt.
I'm not really sure what that play was supposed to be, but it seemed that there was some miscommunication. The line fell apart. The whole play fell apart. And there was a nice sack there.
Patriots defense looked very good on that drive. That's what they have to do. They have to stuff all the holes, really, and they can't let anybody get through.
Yeah, we're seeing more of the Wayne Hills team we're used to now in this second half, so Coach Olson's speech must have had an impact in some way. A very high punt. They'll look for a fair catch there by Monahan, as really wasn't anything in front of him to do with it.
Yeah. Short punt from the line of scrimmage. That went from the 15 to the 40, so 25 yards. Wayne Hill's going to have some fantastic field position to start their next drive to hopefully add on some more points.
Yeah, starting already in Hackensack territory at, I believe, the 41-yard line. So I would like to see them air it out a little bit more, as you have Justin Beveridge there at back for this drive. And he'll get the first handoff. Tries to make a move inside, but he's quickly met by a Hackensack defender. And we'll look at 2nd down.
Great tackle there by Rico Fazy. Shed his blocker to make the tackle. And very nice play for no gain.
So I'll have 2nd down and 10 coming up, and timeout taken.
It looks to be another injury
pop.
timeout.
Another injury.
And
Kimroy Clark, please report to the press box. Kimroy Clark, please report to the press box.
Another Hackensack injury. So yeah, I think it's the intensity at which these athletes are performing. Their bodies aren't used to it after having the preseason. I mean,
Yeah.
you surely don't perform as hard as you would in a real game, and your mindset's definitely not the same.
I think there's been more injuries than points scored this game.
That's definitely true.
This game, although 48 minutes on the clock, it's turning out to be a long one with all these injury timeouts. Most timeouts have been used by the teams, with one remaining in Hackensack after the first half, and Wayne Hills using 2 already in the third quarter.
Most games we've announced have ended around 9:15, but we still have 16 minutes of football left, and it's nearly 9 o'clock, so we can see this game go very late, thanks in part to a lot of the injury timeouts.
Yeah, injuries have seemed to be the big thing in this game, other than Wayne Hill's special teams, well, at least for the first half. So now we have the cart going out.
And this does not look good.
No, it doesn't. As we saw Zafino earlier with a hyperextended knee, now possibly another knock on wood season-ending injury for Hackensack.
Zafino walked off the field, so that's certainly a hope. But when the car comes out, you know it's a very serious injury, or at least looks like it. So hopefully, this player will be all right.
Yeah, as you see him there getting lifted by both coaches, put onto the car as we're expecting an ovation from the stands coming shortly.
We know football is a very physical game, and some of us love it for that. But no matter what team you're rooting for, injuries are always a heartbreaking part of the game. You don't. I mean, if you put yourself in that position, it's just awful. You don't like seeing anyone get hurt. And I'll clap, but
yeah, we don't hear any claps yet, which is surprising.
We'll give him a hand.
So we're clapping though, so that's all that matters.
Best of luck to him.
So play will continue now. We have 4:13 left in the third. Wayne Hills will be taking it 2nd down and 10 to go from the 41, and a 16-7 game in favor of Wayne Hills. And there come the claps right now.
As the cart passes the stands, you hear some claps.
He's rubbing his collarbone and around his neck, so that's always a scary spot. Olsen under center. Offsides called on Hackensack there, as you saw the jump early.
Offside. Against the Comets, that's a 5-yard penalty.
So Wayne Hills, the penalty's now working in their favor.
Based on the history of how this game's been going so far, I was blocked by the pole. My view was blocked by the pole, and I did not see the defensive player jump, so I thought it was going to be another false start. But I'm happy to see it's not.
2 receivers out. Olsen with the handoff. Beveridge. Looks like he might get the first down on that one, so good run there by Justin Beveridge. And you see how much depth Wayne Hills really has in their running game with Rodriguez, Schiller, and Beveridge. Despite the injury to Troy Zafino, they're still doing well. And
we see as an ambulance is now leaving the field and going towards what I'm assuming to be Hackensack Hospital, which I guess the injury to this football player is very serious, so best of luck to him.
Another handoff there. Looks like to Beveridge again, and he'll get a couple yards on that one. But a new face seen on the field, I believe that's Preston Quinn at receiver. Brother of Mike Quinn, who was the starter here for a couple of years, now playing his football at Elon, but he was definitely one of Wayne Hill's big quarterbacks. He could run, he could throw, and he was one of the big factors in that Wayne Valley game about 2 years ago. Another run to Beveridge as met by a defender just shy of breaking away, but what do you feel about Wayne Hills going with the hurry-up offense here, catching Hackensack off guard?
It seems to be working. The running game, I'm not really sure what Olsen said at halftime, but the running game, which wasn't all too existent in the first half, has really picked up the slack in the second half. As for the passing game, Olsen really hasn't done much this half or this game. We're really focusing on the running game. Josh?
Wayne Hills definitely seems to be managing their time a little better. They're controlling the pace of the game, and they're just moving forward one step at a time.
Another handoff, but seems like Hackensack brought the blitz there. I mean, you can only run it so many times before you're stopped, and now we'll see Wayne Hills possibly go to play action or maybe even a pass. Approaching the 2-minute warning here, so expect the clock to stop.
There's a loss of 2 on the last play, and after that big gain for the first down, Beverage loses a little more yardage on that one, but great defensive play.
So Olsen under center, receiver in motion on the left side, and Olsen with the boot. He's going to the left side. He's got one guy to beat, and it looks like he gets inside the 5-yard line, so.
Olsen showing some surprising quickness there. He's pretty nimble for a big guy.
Last year, I do remember seeing him run some boots and stuff, but certainly right after Mike Quinn left, he was more of the running quarterback. Kevin looks more of a pocket passer to me, but he can surely roll out.
We saw it there, and that surprised me. But I like the play call. Gained some nice yardage.
Another injury on the field for Hackensack. Now, this is getting a little ridiculous. Over by the Wayne Hill side of the field, where their bench players are standing at least. Now that's about 5 or 6 injuries at least.
He looks okay though. I think he was just limping a bit, but looks like he just rubbed some dirt on it.
Hopefully we won't see another ambulance have to come in here and take out a player.
It's a pretty hot and humid night. I think dehydration is probably the most common injury we're going to see. I think we saw it in Andrew Monahan earlier, and I'm sure 1 or 2 Hackensack players have also had it today. This injury certainly is not like as serious as the last one, which is very good.
Walking off the field on his own, so that's always a good sign to see. So we're still at a 16-7 game with Wayne Hills driving down the field looking to extend the lead. Really, still not the high-scoring game anyone was expecting. I mean, it's a 9-point game, still 2 possessions, but it's only a 9-point game. As we have second down, the clock's a little messed up right now, so we don't know the exact down. Looks like we have 3rd and goal, according to the game clock. Another handoff to Christian Rodriguez again. Looks like he'll a fumble, but clock. Kevin Olsen getting a little emotional there.
And lucky not to draw a penalty there. Did Olsen just hit that player?
I believe he slapped him.
I think he stifled himself. It looks like he held back at the end.
All right, good.
But that could have been that could have looked very bad for Hills football.
Yeah, that could have been one of those penalties we've been talking about that are unnecessary, extremely unnecessary. Excuse me.
Now it's 4th down and 3. There we go. They fixed the scoreboard. 4th down and 2.
Yeah, so
4th down and 1.
So
this scoreboard is a bit interesting.
We can't really trust it, and we don't have the eyes to see the field at this angle, but Wayne Hill's 3 backs. They'll just go to a straight handoff. Rodriguez looks like he crosses the pylon.
Looks good.
And Christian Rodriguez with the touchdown, his 2nd of the game, as Wayne Hills will take the lead now 22-7, and he's really been a big factor in their red line offense.
I talked about earlier not having a force like a Hogan on short yard situations, but it looks like Christian Rodriguez is really stepping up. He had that touchdown earlier, and the time to get in for the touchdown around here. And he's only a junior, so if he can continue this, he looks to have a promising season, and hopefully next year as well.
Yeah, next year it looks like they're going to have, from what we've seen so far, 2 great running backs in Robbie Schiller and Christian Rodriguez. He's already got 2 touchdowns this game, and we'll see Martinez if he can put another one through the pylon, or through the uprights, excuse me.
That's good.
And so in our books, he's, what is that, 4 for 5? 4 for 5. In the scorebooks, he's 2 for 3.
Yep.
So Wayne Hills takes the lead 23-7, and this is more the Wayne Hills team we're used to seeing. Definitely more high-powered offense and more physical defense, and might have just been first game jitters. That's my best guess on this.
Now, I hope Hills does not get a big head from this lead. It's definitely still a game. It's still a football game, and they really got to still play defense. They can't hold back anymore.
Something possibly affecting Hackensack is these countless injuries that they keep going through. I mean, we didn't see that many in the first half, and that's when the game was its closest at 9-7. And now in this third quarter, Wayne Hills scores twice, and Hackensack maybe goes through about 3 or 4 injury stoppages for their players. One carted off by the trainer and taken off by an ambulance.
We talked about how detrimental the injury to Stefano was for Wayne Hills, and it looks like they've gotten a bit over that hump. But if one injury was very detrimental to Hills for 2 quarters, I can only imagine how detrimental emotionally and to the momentum of Hackensack that 4 or 5 injuries in 1 quarter can be.
Momentum's probably the best word there. Like, during the first half, they had hope they were doing well in this game, and now after facing all these injuries, their team, it looks like it's just slowed down as a whole. But we have the kickoff there taken by the number 4, who is not in our roster book. He is fast, though, and he's breaking tackles. He looks open. Almost with the opening. But he's taken down around the 36, 37-yard line. And Corey Comforth with the stop.
Potential touchdown-saving tackle there by transfer Corey Comforth.
I held my breath on that one. That was close.
Yeah, really, you saw that he was in a mosh of a bunch of players, but he just spun right out of it and looked for an opening towards the outside.
You know about all these injuries, you guys are saying how like they're not used to the intensity until they get accustomed to it. Honestly, I think it could only get worse because this is the best weather they're going to see all season, and when it gets colder out, when we get closer to November, the muscles aren't going to be as loose as they are right now. It's just going to get a lot tighter from then on.
I do agree with you a bit, but I think as the season goes on, they'll also become more durable, more used to playing these intense games. But I think I'll let the play happen, and then I'll continue.
No call on that play, very surprising. But Hackensack's still able to get the pass off, and looks to be a gain of about 10. So it'll be close to the first down.
And it looks like the Hills players got back after they jumped, so there was no penalty call. But like I was saying, injuries are not only obviously detrimental to the team physically as they lose some of their best players, but if you think about it mentally, penalties are mental errors more than physical errors. And we've seen Hackensack has had a number of penalties so far this quarter. They've lost 4 or 5 players, so I think that can have a correlation as well.
Handoff right into the middle. Justin Evadisian taking him down with force, bear hugging him almost.
And there's really no excuse for false starts or offside. The amount of snaps these guys see during the offseason, they should really not be doing that so much.
So there's the end of the third quarter, and we have a 23-7 score, Wayne Hills in favor, as they seem to pick up everything this quarter and go back to that old Wayne Hills team we know. That'll do it for us for the third quarter. We'll be back with the start of the fourth quarter after this. And we're back with the start of the fourth quarter. Wayne Hills leading the game 23-7. And as we said before, the old Wayne Hills team really came alive in that third quarter. As we saw Hackensack get a little deflated, but they'll be under center. They're starting this quarter off with the ball, so a play action there. Open guy, good block there on Nick DeSico. And another good block. They looked like very good play by Hackensack.
And it's Marcus Parker again, very shifty, going in between tackles, spinning, breaking tackles. And that was a humongous gain for Hackensack.
If you notice, at the end of that play, there were a lot of white jerseys around Parker, and that just goes to show that the tackles weren't being made that play.
Now for me, I don't know if it's this simple, but there's one player making plays for Hackensack, and you put your best defender on him, your quickest defender, who on the field right now, it's going to be one of the safeties or one of the cornerbacks. So if you can man up maybe Monahan or Schiller or Moskal, who's on the field right now, Monahan the lone safety, you might be able to stop him. As they'll do another handoff to Marcus Parker yet again, and he's taken down by Joe Lane with the takedown there. A returning starter from last year. He really had a good year last year, really taking the line and forming it into what they have this year.
Parker went down with a thud there. That was a beautiful tackle, and a loss of 2.
So now we'll have 2nd and 12, so a loss of 2, as you said, Alex, on that play. Clock winding down now to just under 10:40. So we still have some time to play, some time for Hackensack to come back, but might just be too little too late in this 4th quarter. And we see a fumble on the snap there by Malik Bush, but he's able to pick it up and avoid a turnover, which was all you had to do in that situation, the only thing he could do.
They seem to get back to the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be around 3rd and 10.
A gain of 2 on that play, so not what they were expecting, but I guess it ended up somewhat working out. Hackensack now 3rd and 12, so I guess there was no gain on the play. Malik Bush in shotgun, slot receiver to his left, I believe, and one receiver wide. An overthrow, Santoro on coverage there. It did look like pass interference, and Hackensack coaches are extremely mad, but it was pass interference if he had a chance at the ball, and I really didn't see him having a chance at catching that.
I thought Santoro did swat the receiver's arm, but that ball was very overthrown.
It was far wide, definitely. Yeah. So that's the ref's justification on that one, as Hackensack will send out the punt team, and Monahan will be the only one back there to return. So,
looking in the roster, looking at Malik Bush, I don't know if it's on purpose or if he actually looks like Michael Vick, but he bears an incredible resemblance to Michael Vick.
I definitely noticed that.
He's got a pretty big arm like Vic too.
Anytime you get compared to Michael Vick, as Monahan will let that one go, it'll bounce into the end zone. So very good decision there by him, as they'll take it at the 20-yard line.
Huge punt there, very powerful.
I don't know if he did it on purpose, but you see Monahan call of a fair catch, knowing that the ball was over his head. I don't it looked kind of funny from here.
So I got the defense.
Right.
Very nice kick.
Playing some mind games.
So now 9:28 remaining in this 4th quarter. Wayne Hills with the lead, 23-7, as they'll try to tack on one more touchdown to this game and get closer and closer to my game prediction.
You're right.
I mean, I think they're getting closer to my game prediction. I have, 38-0? If they score another touchdown, it'll be 30-7. I think that's closer than 31-24.
We'll have to discuss that one after the game, but we'll see. As the handoff taken, looks like a gain of a couple yards on that one, as we'll see 2nd down coming up.
The defenses look pretty strong in the second half. Take away 1 or 2 plays by the shifty Marcus Parker, and they've looked very, very good. I guess whatever Olsen said to them at halftime really stuck with them.
That defensive line was really the one big thing that we knew Wayne Hills had coming into this year. They had Kevin Olsen, who he had a good season last year, but really still a junior, no one knew. But they have all seniors on that defensive line right now. As the handoff, is that Kevin Olsen with the boot, I believe. So faked me out on that one.
That's a big run right there.
Very good run. Faked me out. Faked, I'm sure, everyone out because there wasn't much cheering going on. But
That was. Wow.
yeah, I'm
That was a-
speechless right now.
22-yard gain or something. That was an incredible fake.
Yeah, really. As we mentioned before, Kevin Olsen with the ability to run, but we had not seen him run that much. But if you can pull that out every once in a while, it's definitely good to see. Jeff Gignac in the game as a receiver, but he'll just be doing blocking on this play. Beveridge with the carry.
I'm not sure how well Jeff catches, but he could be a big target. He's 6'4". If he has good hands, he could be really useful to Kevin Olsen.
Really, height as a receiver, you really can't teach height to anyone. So if he could get a jump on a jump ball, and he could just get a hand on it, with those football gloves as high-tech as they are now, you might be able to stick it right to your hands. Another run. We have Connor Michelle on that one, number 2, with a good gain. He'll get... Well, the announcer has just called him Michael Connor. It's Connor Michelle. But he'll get well past the first down, moving the chains for Wayne Hills.
I don't know. It looks to be like I see a Hackensack player on a knee, so I don't know if they're in the huddle, if that's an injury.
Well, it looks like
Not sure. The water boy's coming out.
if Hackensack hasn't used timeout yet, they have one left, so we could be seeing a timeout right now from Hackensack.
The referees haven't signaled anything, so I'm a bit confused, but I think it is.
Timeout called by the Comets.
There we go.
With just under 8 minutes to play in the game, the Patriots lead the Comets 23-7.
So we're seeing this game. Wayne Hills is surely going into old form. They're stepping all over this Comets team right now, but I don't think it's as much Wayne Hills as it is Hackensack injuries. I mean, this team came out fired up to play, as you saw them in the opening, and now with these injuries, it seems that they just deflated a little bit. I mean, in the first couple plays of the game, they lost their big running back, their starter. We'll get the name on him in a minute, and then
Perez, I believe.
Perez, yeah, and then with just countless injuries that just keep happening for Hackensack, it's just not helping him at all.
You know, I see Perez on the sideline right now. He's walking off the field, but he looks like he's in a lot of pain. That's a big loss for the team.
Andrew Monahan on the carry for that one, so seeing another person getting some running action.
You know, this is really not Hills football that we're used to. Despite the lead, you know, we're not seeing them pummel the ball down the field. We're not seeing huge hits. We're not seeing big passes, but they're getting the job done. Quite frankly, I do not think Coach Olsen is going to be as happy as you think he'd be after this one.
Monahan with the carry again. So Coach Olsen's trying to work every running back into the rotation, maybe trying to find who will be the number 1 back, maybe just using every weapon he has, but we won't know that until later in the season.
Direct snap to Monahan, then on 2nd and 40. Lost a yard there, so that play was a bit of a failure. But an interesting play call nonetheless.
So now we'll have 3rd and 5 to go from Hackensack's 29. Looks like a wildcat formation. We saw this a little bit from Wayne Hills last year. Monahan taking it, fake run, giving it deep to Olsen. Oh, very nice pass by Andrew Monahan there. Very nice route run by Kevin Olsen, just right through his hands. He outstretched him. It was a very tough catch to make, but we know Kevin Olsen's not used to being a receiver, so you can't blame him for that one.
It was a nice pass, and Monahan did used to be a quarterback at middle school in his freshman year before he was converted to a wide receiver. So obviously we know he can throw the ball. We saw it right there. The pass is a bit overthrown, catchable, but just out of the outstretched arms of Kevin Olsen.
Monahan did put up a good ball. Unfortunately, Olsen doesn't have the extra point or so on his speed rating, so that'll be the downfall of that one play.
Olsen back at quarterback in shotgun. Michelle to his right. Looking for that same play, but Monahan right over the middle. Great catch. He'll get taken down right around the 14-yard line.
That's a big first down on 4th and 5. That's a gutsy play call.
Yeah, really. Surprised to know that it was third down and they put Andrew in at quarterback, as he's not the starting quarterback, but really it almost worked in their favor if possibly Kevin Olson had a step or two more on that ball.
And Kevin threw that pass into Monahan, but Monahan was in the zone of 4 defenders. Nonetheless, a beautiful pass, great catch, and a nice first down.
Really what you're calling threading the needle there from Olson as he hands it off right now to Beveridge. Beveridge just pushing behind the line as you have Roberto Alvarez and Connor Michelle leading the push for them.
9-yard gain there by Beveridge, and Beveridge is just pushing and pushing and will not go down. We saw it last year, and I'm glad to see it continue under this year. And Beveridge is a small player, 5'9"-ish, and probably has one of the biggest hearts on the team, pushing and pushing.
He's a very hard-nosed football player, as I mentioned before. He's not going to go down until he's forced down. So now we'll have 2nd and 1 to go from Hackensack's 5. Wayne Hills in scoring position now. They're able to tack on another one to this one. It'll be almost unreachable for Hackensack.
The clock is ticking.
Olson under center, Beveridge and Michelle behind. As the handoff again to Beveridge, he's got room to the right. We're looking for a touchdown for number 27, Justin Beveridge, as Wayne Hills takes the lead in this game, 30-7.
And we haven't seen it much, but a run to the outside there, which, it's weird. I've always found it weird how much teams run into the offensive and defensive line. And a run to the outside, and it works beautifully there. It's a big pickup, touchdown, Justin Beveridge.
I know from my Madden crew that the only thing that's bad about tosses to the left and the right is you could lose a lot of yards on them. So that's probably the fear for Coach Olson in calling them, but it worked out on that play, as we'll have Martinez taking yet another extra point and yet another extra point made for him.
Number 5 on the night for him.
That drive took up about 5+ minutes, which when you're playing 12-minute quarters is a lot of time. With a 23-point lead and 5:01 left in the game, I find this lead insurmountable.
I don't know if Wayne Hills could hear you, Alex, but I remember before you mentioned clock management and time management, and now it seems they're doing a really great job with it.
I never had an issue with the amount of time they're taking up on drives. I had an issue with the way they were using their timeouts inefficiently, because they were using their timeouts early in the third quarter when the game was still close. Now that they're, I don't want to say blowing out, but now that they extended their lead on Hackensack, it doesn't seem the timeouts are as needed. But in a close game like it was early in the third quarter, it's a much bigger difference.
Yeah, really. If this had continued to be a close game and Wayne Hills was in the final minutes and they needed timeouts, no one knows what could have happened, but it would have been bad for Wayne Hills only having one timeout in the fourth quarter.
Luckily enough, it does not seem like we have to worry about that anymore with a 23-point lead.
Yeah, the Patriots are in a very, very comfortable position right now.
But nonetheless, I think it's something that they should look at on tape later in the week and say, we need to work on our game management.
Right now, you might see some younger Wayne Hills players stepping in and some players that get less playing time. As I don't believe I see Comforth on the field, who was on the opening kickoff.
Big kick.
Very nice kick there by Hackensack, as they'll field it. Or not by Hackensack, by Wayne Hills, excuse me. Number 55 there for Wayne Hills, taking down Nick Galizia with the tackle on that one. Again, Nick Galizia, also one of the bigger kids on this Wayne Hills team. 5'11", 220. Lower only to maybe a handful of kids on this roster.
Yeah.
And he's only a junior.
Yeah, very good point to add.
I see Nick Galizia in school sometimes. He sports a big mohawk, a nice beard. It is absolutely physically scary and intimidating. I can only imagine when you have a 5'11", 220-pound man running at you downfield on kickoffs, how scary that is.
Nick Galizia is a force to be reckoned with. He is not the guy that you want to meet in a dark alley.
As we see some Wayne Hills secondary players coming in, Rob Levine, number 77, will be taking Matt Greenfield's position. Number 52 for Wayne Hills, Matt Byrne, the sophomore. Now, I know the Byrne family, and Matt Byrne getting some playing time. That surely shows a bright future for him, as the whole defensive line next year for Wayne Hills is going to be gone. So they're going to be looking for 4 fresh new players to play in, and if he's one of the first to go in the blowouts, then that's good for him. So we'll look at 2nd and 10 for Hackensack, or 2nd and maybe 8. 2nd and 8, yep. Clock winding down to just under 4 minutes and 30 seconds.
Still have a majority of your first team in. I see Mike Areno, Andrew Monahan. I saw Dom Santoro.
Robbie Schiller's still in, and
Yeah.
he got some starts in the beginning of the game. But also that line is just... Roberto Alvarez, I believe, is one of the only starters still in on the line. Another flag, late flag thrown, so... In a 30-7 game, I don't know why we're having flags thrown after the play, or why people are causing flags thrown after the play.
We've seen a lot of flags for the play on false start or offsides, and a lot of flags after the play, but very few actually during the play. Obviously, the occasional pass interference. But we have a personal foul against Wayne Hill, so 15-yard penalty.
So, again, really, these habits, they have to break the timeouts, because the timeouts, this late penalty, because if this were a close game, your coach can't be happy about that if that were to happen.
This is the first game of the season, and mistakes, of course, if they're going to be made, are probably going to be made in the first few games of the season. So it's not that surprising to see these, but they do need to get fixed.
A fumble on the snap. We have a flag down. Tackle made on the play by number 55, Nicolizia. So you very well might be looking at your line for next year, with the exception of Roberto Alvarez. Out there we have Rob Levine, Matt Burr, Nicolizia, and there will be one more spot open for whoever takes Roberto Alvarez's position out right now. Looks like we have 2nd and 10 to go from the 36-yard line.
You see number 12 in. I believe he's playing quarterback, and I don't know what happened to Talik Bush.
Possibly in the acceptance that they're not going to win this game, giving an underclassman or maybe even an upperclassman senior. And yeah, Jeremy Hendrick, the senior, obviously not the starter, but he's getting some snaps in here. And it looks like we have a fumble on the play. Let's see if Wayne Hills was able to recover. Hackensack will keep the ball, but yeah, when you realize that you're not going to win a game, 3 minutes left, and they're down 3 scores, 4 even actually, unless you go for 2-point conversions. But Jeremy Hendrick, really, it's nice to see them getting the senior some playing time in the first game of the season. So great things for him.
Coupled with the fact that a lot of Hackensack has been injured tonight. Talik Bush, one of your best players, I don't think you want to potentially lose him in a game you're basically going to lose at this point. So I guess that's another reason they have Hendrick in.
Hackensack's going to need every weapon they have for the rest of the season if they want to end up doing well. Hendrick with the QB sneak, making a couple of people miss. He's still up on his feet. He's going to the left side. Looks like he'll be short of the first down, but very good heart shown by Jeremy Hendrick. He wants to be out there because, he didn't start this game, and he's trying to prove something to the coaches.
You mentioned that they're going to need their players for later in the season, and obviously they're not going to play a lot of teams the caliber of Wayne Hills. You have your next few games. You have versus Kennedy, at Bergen Tech, versus Fairlawn. They're all decent teams, but Hackensack is very improved, can beat them. And you have at Paramus and at Ridgewood. Those are 2 incredibly tough teams, so those will be very good games.
So the punt, very high, very short. A friendly roll for Hackensack, but still not a very good punt. As we'll look to see Hills go into that victory formation. I can't see why not. Maybe run it once or twice, get a first down, but then we're definitely going to see the knees come in.
I don't think Coach Olsen is the type of coach that loves padding the score when the game is already over with. There's a minute 41 left, and he does have a timeout, but I don't really see them trying to score another touchdown.
Coach Olson definitely he's very experienced in his coaching position. He knows when to push and when not to. And 30-7, the home opener, it might be the time to push, but I really don't see a need to, seeing that they're up by 3 scores right now with a minute 41 remaining. If they were even to knee it, I don't know if Hackensack would even use their timeouts, because it's an unreachable game at this point. So, guys, what do you think of Wayne Hill's opening game? I mean, they started off slow, but certainly not midseason form yet, but they are definitely improving after at least the first half of the game.
Oh, wait, we have a little more time to talk because Wayne Hill just used their final timeout. I think we were all surprised, certainly in the first half. Going to the locker room at 9-7, Wayne Hills, it's very surprising considering what we'd seen, from last year where they just blew out everybody and won the state championship. But you have some new players. Obviously, you have to replace Brian Dowling. So, I mean, Hackensack's a good team, but, you got some learning room. You gotta learn, get some good game time experience.
Big run.
On the one hand, this is not the Hills football team we're used to where they get out early on. But on the other hand, a win's a win. And this is not just a win, it's a big one. It's the first game of the season. They're up by 23 points. And they're going to come out in the season with a 1-0.
Wayne Hills goes out on the football field every week expecting to beat every team they play. They go with the mindset they are better than every team, and often they are. And I think Hackensack, they knew they were going to beat Hackensack. It was a lot closer than we thought for a little while, but now it's pretty far. It's pretty far away. But next week they have Eastside, which should also be another blowout. So I think you have the first couple games early in the season that get the starters out, get the kinks out. So you're ready when you play Wayne Valley, Paramus, Ridgewood, all these good teams.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you see right now, no starters are left in the game for this last minute. All secondary players are out right now, so certainly not looking to injure any of their players. Not that it seems like anything would happen on a knee. But, yeah, Alex, they have to prepare for these big games. And Hackensack, if they come out like this playing against Wayne Valley, I don't think they're going to be that good, but that's always a close game because of the intensity. So if they come out playing like this against Wayne Valley or possibly a St. Joe's or another high-caliber team that you mentioned, they're not going to fare very well. So they're definitely going to have a big week of practice ahead of them.
They look good in the second half. I hope this trend is in the next week and in the upcoming games. I think, it was just a bit of rustiness after a very long off season. But they look good in the second half.
Good first win for Hills.
Very good first win for Hills. As a slow first half, a 9-7 halftime score, Wayne Hills does take their usual form, winning 30-7 at the end of this game, guys. We didn't really see much spark from any of the key players. I mean, Kevin Olson, the quarterback, you're going to see as much from him as you would from any quarterback. But Corey Comforth with 1 tackle, and Josh, the line, you can't judge that from stats. You just have to know. You have to know how they're doing. So that'll end the game for us. A big thanks to our crew, Christian Rowe, cameraman, Josh Mordkoff, Alex Green, and myself. We'll see you guys next week with our pregame segment On the Line with the Evadicians. I'm Nick Appaluccio, signing off.